Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and good morning, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning and welcome to the first day of CAFEO39 paper presentation session 2. I would like to extend a very warm welcome and thank everyone for joining us today. I am Wafika from Puja, Brunei, your host for this session. Before we get started, I have a few technical notes to explain. For presenters, please ensure your Zoom ID is named as follows. For presenter, please ensure your Zoom ID is named as follows, paper ID _ name. For our guests, please ensure your Zoom ID is named as follows, name _ organization. We would like to seek everyone's cooperation to mute their microphones during the presentation. A virtual background is provided for this meeting. Please apply accordingly. And please note that this session will be recorded for documentation purposes. The speaker will take questions at the end of the presentation. Please make use of the chat box or the reactions. The moderator will remind the speaker 2 minutes before the time is up. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we will start the presentation at 9:30 a.m. Thank you. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. To start off the event, we are pleased to introduce our moderators for today. Our first moderator's name is Dr. Udita Ratnayak. Dr. Udita serves as a Senior Assistant Professor in Civil Engineering in University Technology Brunei. His current research interests are on hydrological impacts on climate change, channel and river flow hydraulics, food analysis, and infiltration process. Our second moderator is Dr. Yong Chi Tuan. Dr. Yong has worked in the construction industry as contractor and as engineering consultant. He has been involved in several consultancy projects related to feasibility study on maritime industry of Brunei Darussalam, land use studies, coastal zone resources, and integrated security risk management, physical and information security risk assessment for a petrochemical plant. Dr. Udita and Dr. Yong, on behalf of the organizing committee, I would like to thank you for your time. We will start at 9:30. We will begin shortly. So now I would like to invite Dr. Udita. Dr. Udita, the floor is yours. I'm sorry, you are on mute, sorry.
All right. Thank you, Rafika. So good morning, everybody. So first of all, let me thank Puja Brunei and the organizers of the CAFEO39 for giving me this opportunity to moderate this session. And now let me welcome all the participants and the presenters to this CAFEO39 of 2021. Parallel session number 2 of the 1st December 2021. This morning we have 5 papers in this session. 1 from Malaysia, 1 from Thailand, and 3 from India. And
recording in progress.
So let us begin the session now. And our first presenter of the session is Abdul Shahwan Abdul Nasser from Malaysia, and his paper is on autonomous floating chilled water temperature by TNB. So let me call upon Mr. Abdul Nasser to present his paper.
All right, thank you, Dr. Audita. So first of all, I would like to thank the organizers for giving me the opportunity to present my paper. Okay, let me share my screen. All the hosts will share my paper for my presentation.
No, it will be on your side. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum and good morning to everyone. So my name is Abdul Shahwan Abdul Nasir. I'm Energy Manager at TNB Energy Services, one of the subsidiaries of Tenaga Nasional Berhad. So today I would like to present my paper, Autonomous Floating Chilled Water Temperature. Okay, the main objective of the system is to provide thermal comfort for the air-cooled area while reducing the operating and maintenance costs of the chiller operation, to improve chiller overall efficiency, to improve capability of monitoring chiller plant efficiency. And the last one, we're able to point out and give alarm for any errors occurs in the plant. For some of our highlighted projects are located in Malaysia, Wisma TNB Jalan Timur and also Penang International Airport. So both of them shows some significant amount of savings. So for Jalan Timur is 20%, equivalent to 9.5K ringgit Malaysia monthly, while for Penang International Airport is 12%, equivalent to 22.5K ringgit Malaysia monthly. So the saving principle here is the first one is we will gather all the data through the main 3 gathering unit. So the first one is a digital power meters. So we will install at the individual chiller and also the main incoming of the chiller plant, so that we know the segregation of these 2 chiller. The main use for the DPM is for logging electrical parameters for the chiller and also the overall plant. The next one will be using Rht sensor, relative humidity and also temperature sensor. So it's to use to log the ambient temperature and relative humidity for both indoor and also outdoor temperature. So next one we'll be using RTD sensor, resistive temperature detectors. This one we'll be using to log the temperature for chilled water and also condenser water for both supply and return. Then all the data will be analyzed and interpret, and also the brain will instruct the chiller to supply at a suitable chilled water temperature which will cater the current demand. Okay, to illustrate the saving principle, okay, step 1, always we start with the gathering data. Step 2 and 3 will be analyze and interpret the data using the specific algorithm located in the brain. We call it the brain. So then the brain will command the chiller via the chiller interface card to supply a specific chilled water temperature is to cater the current demand. So the best part is from step 1 to step 5 is completely autonomous. Okay, so moving on. So some of the application for the system, the first one is will be the comfort cooling, usually for commercial building, offices, airports, you name it, shopping malls and whatnot. So the next one is process cooling, normally used for manufacturing processes or industrial processes. The next one is precision cooling. It's for data centers and also clean rooms. Okay, how it works. If we take a look at the screen, our left side of the screen, there's one graph. Okay, in Malaysia, this typical chilled water supply temperature. So normally between 6 to 7 degrees Celsius. So normally it will be left fixed, left untouched since the day they commence the chiller. So that's the reason why sometimes in the morning or the late night or the late evening, we tend to feel extremely cold because at that time, at that particular of day, the demand is low. Okay, the demand is very low, and then it slowly will picking up during the noon, after lunchtime. So normally during the lunchtime, that's the only area that we will be utilizing the maximum potential of the chillers. But other than that, we don't need such extreme coolness in our area. Let's say it's in our office. So at that area, that particular of day, then we need the system to regulate the chilled water temperature to cater exactly the demand for that time of the day. Okay, using that system, our temperature of chilled water supply will be floating accordingly. Okay, moving on. Okay, these are the system architecture. So in this setup, we do have a 2 chiller unit. So like I mentioned before this, we will install DPM for each chiller, individual chiller, and also 1 DPM for the overall chiller plant. Okay, next, the Rht sensor. So the rule of thumb is we will be installing 1 Rht sensor for 1 AHU, so that we could know localized temperature. And also we'll be installing the on and off status for each of the AHU, that we know which AHU is running and which AHU is off. Okay. For the outdoor temperature, we'll be installing 2 Rht sensor. It's one facing east and one facing the west, because we will be gather all the data during the sunrise and also the sunset. And these are the we call it the brain, the main panel, where all the specific algorithm will be in place, do all the analyzing and also they instruct the chiller from this main unit. Okay, it is fully customizable. We can use a standing panel, or we can mount it at the wall. Okay, these are the comparison with and without the system. Okay, these are our typical system at the top part here. So normally during rain, we can feel a slight coldness in our area. So sometimes in the after lunch or after the noon break, we tend to
2
feel a bit
minutes.
cold. Yep.
You have 2 minutes more.
Yep, sure, Doctor. Okay, so with the system in place, it will be consistent throughout whether it's rain or it's sunny outside, because we do have the ears and eyes for the chiller. So the chiller knows it's raining and so it's sunny outside, so that we can regulate the temperature. Some of the sample site pictures. So the sensor in place, the main panel, the outdoor sensors, some of the dashboard, we can see the parameters of the chiller, cooling tower, chiller consumption, some of the dashboard, online dashboard to show the high level information, saving performance, overview of the chiller plant, and also overview of the AHU, including the temperatures and also the status. Comparison between the saving potential. Okay, if you see the left side is before the system switch on in saving mode. Okay, it's quite high. So enters the saving mode, we can see a reduction in the electrical consumption here. For this particular week, we get 35% of savings. Okay, so before we go into the saving mode, first we need to do a benchmarking for establishing the baseline. So for this particular setup, we do have 3 chillers. So we have several configuration, 1, 2 only, 1 and 2, 3, and so on and so forth. So we will take all the data 1 week per chiller configuration. So be it how many chiller is it? So we take a 1 week chiller data. So after the benchmarking period, then only we can go into the saving mode. Okay, I will show the dashboard for the performance of savings for Jalan Timur. Okay, if you can see here, monthly it will be fluctuating, obviously, because the temperature and also how many traffic in our building. So averaging at the 21%. Okay, the next one is Penang International Airport. So obviously, airport have a high traffic. Okay, high traffic, and also it usually have a big glass, although heat easily to come in. So maximum you can reach is 18%. So it's fluctuating. So average is 12%. Okay, way forward. Actually, for the system.
Your time is up.
Yeah, sure, Doctor.
Yeah, please.
All right.
Right. Okay, you can conclude it. Yes.
Okay, sure. Thank you. So I would like further to expand the portfolio of the system domestically or internationally. So I would like to grow the system network. So maybe I can receive the Q&A session, Doctor.
Okay.
Yep.
Yes. Okay. I will love you if there's any if there's no questions. But first of all, let's ask the audience if there are any questions or anything that they would like to get clarified.
Sure.
Please raise your hand, or you can speak. If you raise your hand, we will unmute you. Any questions?
Or maybe they can contact me with the email address here. So anything you can just contact me. Or have a separate session after this.
Yes. Maybe you can complete your presentation. There was only one slide, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, Doctor.
Please explain that one.
So actually for the system, with the system in place, now we can regulate our chilled water temperature so that we can eliminate those wastage of energy during the particular day. Normally it's a morning time and also the evening part. So we would like to have the system in place so that we can know which are the area that needs to be taken care of, because we will install temperature in our ASUs, so we can locate which ASU have I would say problematic ASU so that we need to taken care of. It's either we service it or have a problem on the cooling coil and whatnot. So with the system, inshallah, we can get saving. Minimum is 8%, and it can go as high as it can get. For my experience, from my experience, 21% for the office building. Obviously, if the building is some sort of office, in the controlled environment, so we can get more saving. But then in the airport, okay, in the airport, which huge traffic, the flight, the flight, and also is not we can't control the traffic of the flight and whatnot. So the saving would be a bit lesser than the controlled environment. So I would like to thank all the audience, and also thank you, Doctor.
Again, let me ask the audience if there are any questions or anything.
Sure.
Otherwise, just out of curiosity, is there any kind of disadvantage which you have identified in the system?
Okay. For the system, we are still using wired connection. Okay. So when we're talking about wired connection, we need to lay cables. Okay. At this time of this point, we do have some R&D in our wireless connection, but then for wireless sensors, when we're talking about wireless, the first one is how we're gonna power the sensors, battery. Okay, so now we need to use better technology for the battery, because for this system we need to high data, so the battery must be good. So we don't want to change off very often the battery. Plus, when we're talking about the laying cable, so as you know, for the shopping malls, offices, for the airports and whatnot, so I would say it's a bit hassle on the laying cable, but other than that, the system is perfect already.
Okay, thank you very much, Abdul Shawan. Yes, for presenting the paper. So it is over to you, Rafika.
Now we would like to invite the second presenter. Mr. Madam Mahinthorn Potiwan, if you are present. Okay, the presenter is asking for a moment, so we'll just wait. Yeah.
Good morning, sir. I'm here for the presentation.
All right. Okay. So we have our second presenter, Mahinthorn Patiwan from Thailand. He's going to talk about the alternative power sources for vehicles, electric, hydrogen, and synthetic fuel, ASEAN perspectives. May I call upon Mr. Mahinthorn to start the presentation?
Yes, sir. If you would please spare me a moment.
Yeah, sure.
Are you able to view my slides, sir?
Yes, we can see. Yes.
All right, then I see no reason that I should hold on any longer. I shall start now. All right, a very good morning and a very warm welcome to everybody. Today, my name is Mahinthorn Potiwan, and I am presenting about this topic titled Alternative Power Source Vehicles, Electric, Hydrogen, and Synthetic Fuel, ASEAN's Perspectives. And here are the contents I shall be covering for today's session. Moving on, let us first talk about the introduction to this very topic. So there has been a large number of topical discussions surrounding greenhouse gas emission and pollution concerns on an international level, let alone the collaboration on an international level and cooperation between countries, such as the signing of the Kyoto Protocols and Paris Climate Accord in order to address such issues. Now, this forces the automotive industry to change their ways as well. With such phenomenon, we see the rise of electric vehicles in recent years. Now, we can also thank this partly due to Tesla's marketing to popularize and familiarize the larger public to be more familiar with the technology itself. Now, we also see that in several countries, they have put forth plans to integrate EVs or electric vehicles in order to reduce dependency on fossilized fuels and traditional cars, such as the likes of the Nordic regions and the North American continent. Now, this begs the question of whether if ASEAN is ready for this change to take place at all. Now, about ASEAN, from our initial research, we find that ASEAN is considered to be an emerging market whereby governments in this region try to support alternative fuel vehicles, such as the likes of EVs, through different policies and incentivized assistance, such as the exemplar efforts from the governments of Thailand and Singapore, and also Indonesia as well. However, this can be impeded due to the low confidence in the reliability of the battery, travel range, and also, as of now, the lack of knowledge on maintenance and long-term care. As for our methodology, we would like to investigate the advantages and disadvantages of the three types of alternative fuel vehicles. We're looking at electric vehicles, undoubtedly the most famous ones when it comes to alternative fuel vehicles. Hydrogen-powered vehicles, the rising star, and the less talked about one, which is the synthetic fuel vehicles. Through this, we do it through descriptive and predictive analysis based on current status and future trends of alternative fuel vehicles in Thailand, Indonesia, and Singapore through the case study format. Firstly, we talk about the electric vehicles themselves. So, the electric vehicles, such as the likes of Tesla automobiles, the Toyota Prius, and also Chevrolet Bolt, for example. We see that in terms of benefits or advantages, these cars are able to reduce harmful emission and noise and become even better city cruisers than traditional cars due to the quick acceleration and instant torque. However, it is drawbacked by the travel range and the long charging time, let alone, as of now, the lack of expertise and long-term care. Moving on, we see the likes of hydrogen-powered vehicles. In other words, fuel cell electric vehicles as well, such as the likes of the Toyota Mirai, the most famous one on the roads right now. And we also see that with hydrogen-powered vehicles, one can enjoy quieter rides with no emission, with the byproduct being water only, and it is significantly it is significantly faster to refuel in comparison to the likes of Tesla's battery-powered vehicles, for example. However, due to its energy choice, we see that the refueling cost and the lack of hydrogen station can deter wider adoption, let alone the non-sustainable manner to produce hydrogen can also deter further adoption as well. Next up, we can talk about the synthetic fuel vehicles. Although rare as it may be, this is good for larger, heavy-duty and long-distance vehicle. Now, in order for us to understand how synthetic fuel vehicles can create lower or no carbon emission, we need to understand the concept of net zero carbon emission, which means that it utilizes the processing of carbon sources and biomass into fuel, which is then used to power the car. And then these fuels are then recaptured and reproduced to create a circular carbon emission. This, in theory, leads to low or no emission at all. And because of this, it is more practical for such large, heavy-duty, and long-distance vehicle as well, given that the synthetic fuel has the same density or indeed similar density to fossilized fuels. Thus, there is no need to reinvent the whole new platform for such vehicles themselves. However, only limited by the high investment cost and also the costly prices of refueling as a result of the lack of economies of scale. Now, let us look at the current efforts in the three countries. As for Thailand, we see the country being very, very receptive to EV changes. And we also see that in the future, the government has put out clear policies and clear supporting policies to induce inward direct investments and also to onboard the general public, let alone clear roadmaps to develop facilities and plans for EVs in the future. And as of now, a current network of 1,000 charging points countrywide. However, in the future, the workforce skills and manufacturing expertise needs to be developed with higher charging facilities around the country to enable further adoption. The government also needs to ensure that the power is sourced from sustainable sources as well. It is recommended that the Thai government looks towards hydrogen-powered vehicles and synthetic fuel vehicles as well. Moving on, we see Indonesia. Indonesia has its Automotive 4.0 initiative with the readiness to produce EVs by as early as 2030, with the current charging facilities and battery swapping services being carried out and built around the country. Indonesia is also very good when it comes to implementation of their policies, being able to bring in foreign direct investments and also create demand locally for EVs as well by integrating and familiarizing their population with the use of EVs.
You have 2 minutes more.
Okay, sure, sir. And also, their plans is also inclusive of hydrogen-powered vehicles as well. In the future, the efforts to pursue market receptiveness needs to be more because they need to, because Indonesians still need to be opened up towards EV in a much better sense. And also, there has to be a mandatory development of human capital in order for Indonesia to seize on this EV pie as well. And also, in the future, more charging ports and synthetic fuel vehicles needs to be studied. Lastly, we talk about Singapore. Singapore has its plan to phase out traditional cars by 2040, and as of now, it has the most extensive EV supporting facilities in the region, with electricity being sourced from sustainable sources, and plans to support hydrogen-powered vehicles as well. And also, the government put forth policies to onboard the general public towards EV. However, in the future, proper education needs to be implemented in order to open up in terms of wider adoption and market receptiveness. And we see that Singapore is likely to consider the research and development hub for future automotive industry. And to encourage wider adoption, there needs to be higher number of charging facilities. Thank you very much for listening. And that is all that we offer for you today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mainton. May I request the audience to come up with any questions or clarifications if you all need anything from the presenter? Please raise your hand, or you can type in the chat box. Just one question, Mainton. Now, what is the sort of inclination towards which type of EV in the ASEAN region?
Yes, EVs, in this case, I am talking about battery-powered electric vehicles.
Not the hydrogen?
Not yet. It is unlikely that the hydrogen-powered vehicles and synthetic fuel vehicles are being looked at currently.
Okay, in relation to that, there's one question in the chat box. So they're asking, where will be the hydrogen supply?
Where will be the hydrogen supply from? All right. So from what I know, from the European counterparts, and also we can talk about in California of the United States as well, that the hydrogen powered stations are being built, and they're sourced from traditional, oil refinery place as well. I hope that clears our understanding.
There is another one. How will the synthetic fuel go against the hydrocarbon in terms of the power output?
Very interesting question. So taking a look at synthetic fuel, in that case, synthetic fuel is good for, long distance and heavy duty vehicles, since these type of vehicle would need higher energy output in comparison to normal cars as well. So seeing from this perspective, if synthetic fuel vehicles can reach wider adoption, it would be great, because there is no need for us to invent a whole new platform to suit such vehicles, since they would need a lot of power. And I hope that clears your your understanding.
So, right, okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Mainton. So it is a nice presentation, interesting. And let me hand over to Rafika, our host.
Okay, now we would like to do a certificate presentation of appreciation to our speaker, Mr. Mahinton Potiwan, on his presentation on alternative power sources for vehicles, electric, hydrogen, and synthetic fuel, ASEAN's perspectives. Okay, hold on.
Thank you so much. Would I be able to get this as well later?
Yes, I will be emailing it to you for the soft
Okay.
copy. Yeah, all right.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Now I'm calling upon the first presenter, Abdul Shazwan Abdul Nasser, for his certificate.
Thank you very much, Pooja, and also the organization.
Thank you so much for your presentation today.
Thank you very much.
Now, I'd like to pass the floor back to Dr. Udita.
Thank you, Rafika. So it is time for the third presentation. Hope the presenter is available.
Yeah, I am online.
Okay.
Praveen ma'am.
Thank you. So our next presentation is by Praveen Kumar Mahata and A. Kumaraswamy, V.K. Saraswat, and Himanshu Shekhar, all are from India. And the topic is sustainable brick production using waste pollutant for reduced emission and reduced consumption of cleaning energy. So over to you, Praveen.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Udita
Yes.
Ratnayake, moderator from University of Technology, Burani, our host of this session, and the organizer for giving this opportunity to present my research work. I am Praveen Mehta. I work for Defense Research and Development Department in MOD, Ministry of Defense, India. And my investigation, can I share my screen?
Yes, you may.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Is my screen seen?
Yes.
Is my presentation visible, right?
Yes, it is visible.
Okay, very good. So thank you very much. Uh, all the my co-presenters, all the participants, and it talks about sustainable development, utilizing the propellant waste in building material production, that is the fire clay brick, and that results into reduction in the emission and reduced consumption in the cleaning energy required for making this bricks. So I'll go to my next slide. The the main motivations for taking up this work is summarized here, that we all know that bricks are the basic building units, and huge requirement of bricks exist in every part of the globe. More so, if you see, the almost about more than 85% of bricks are required in for the construction in Asian subcontinent. The raw material for making the bricks, which is a natural resources, is depleting fast, and the sustainable brick manufacture by addition of different additives were attempted by many researchers, and in line with this, an attempt has been made to incorporate the waste propellant in brick manufacture for consumption of waste propellant on the one side and handling of scarcity of raw material for the bricks on the other side. And we could find few interesting findings in our this particular research work. Now, if you see the worldwide efforts made in this direction, lot of additives has been tried out for replacement of raw material for the bricks. For example, fly ash, a byproduct, and many other additives, which are both combustible and incombustible, and they have been utilized effectively for making the bricks. The properties of the bricks so made by using these additives are tailored, and they can be planned for a specific application. And when you add this combustible material as additives in the brick, it gives you a more porous and lighter brick. And incombustible material actually adds to the strength of the brick, and they impacts the thermal, chemical, electrical, acoustic, and other properties of the bricks when they are made with adding these additives. The worldwide efforts have resulted into many alternatives for sustainable brick production, and the if you see that my present work actually surrounds around utilizing a waste propellant. As we all know that the rocket motors, which are deployed for missile and rockets, they are made out of solid propellant. We call it composite propellant, and huge amount of propellant waste gets generated when we process these rocket motors. And all the countries who are practicing these technologies, they result into a huge amount of waste propellant, which needs to be disposed of in a environmental friendly fashion. And this was found out to be one of the main advantage of this particular research work, where this waste propellant can be used as part of additives in the brick. And what happens is when we add this this propellant waste powder in the green brick mix, and when we do the cleaning of this brick, the auto ignition temperature is for the propellant is about 250 degrees centigrade. But the cleaning of bricks, we go more than 1000 degrees centigrade, and that is where the entire propellant mix what we add into the bricks, there is no traces left of the propellant. In fact, it reacts and converts into different salts, different composition in the brick, and it remains in the brick. The other way, what happens is there is an inherent energy available in the propellant waste, which gets utilized while cleaning the brick, and it saves on the energy of the brick. The example quoted here, it results to about 10 to 12% of energy saving for cleaning of bricks. Now, just to show you how this experiment has been done, is shown here. The propellant wastage powdery mix has to be mixed in the green.
Sorry, your slides are not moving.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Now? No? I thought you stop. Which slide you are seeing now?
I think it is the first one still.
Oh, that's I wish you would have told me before. Let me see.
Yes.
Is it changing now?
It is slide 6 of 7.
Yeah, and now I am at slide which shows which says propellant added bricks heading. No.
No.
Just
Characterization of modified bricks.
So would you like me to share your slides for you?
Yeah. If you
Okay,
can help
yeah.
with that. Yeah. I'll stop sharing, right? Yeah. पेपर लाना अंदर, पेपर रखे अंदर बैठ के था. Oh, well, I would will not waste time of everyone.
Yeah,
It has
please,
come.
yeah.
Yeah. So, I was on. Go back one slide. Yeah. So I was on this slide. So basically, this is how we have carried out our experimentation. The the propellant waste has been mixed with the green mix, and this clay molds have been prepared, and then they have been sun dried for 48 hours to remove the excess moisture, and then they have been cleaned up to 1100 degrees centigrade with a particular thermal cycle, and then we have brought it down, cooled down to the room temperature. This is how a typically brick gets cleaned and prepared. Go to the next slide. Yeah. So if we characterize this bricks so modified and prepared like this, we have taken the SEM images to see that how is the microstructure getting changed when we add this particular waste propellant. So it forms the pores, and the pore boundaries are hardened. The porosity is increased, density is unchanged, the water absorption is shown here. It goes to the tune of 21 to 23%, and the compressive strength. These are the basic properties of the brick which needs to be maintained. So our whole work was to come to a optimized composition to keep the key characteristics unchanged. At the same time, utilize this energy in the waste propellant, and then we have carried out the acoustic and the thermal studies on these bricks, and very interesting findings like ultrasonic attenuation at different range of frequency we have seen, and also the thermal conductivity reduces. Both these properties imparts huge cascading effects in the civil engineering structures, as we know that the acoustic attenuation and the thermal conductivity makes with these changes you are able to make a better sound insulated buildings. At the same time, the thermal load decreases, so the air conditioning load in the building so occupied or so built would reduce. That would save a lot of energy in time to come, and that would lead to the sustainable development. Can we go to the next slide?
You have 2 minutes. No.
Yeah. So I'm already on my concluding slide. So without adversely affecting the water absorption and the key characteristics of the brick, we have seen in our study that waste propellant, which is a huge quantity available in all such places, which can be consumed very effectively. In fact, it can be disposed of very well in this fashion. It reduces the backing load because the fuel energy required to back the brick will be reduced by adding this waste propellant, and the bricks so formed are porous. The raw material required for making the brick gets reduced, which needs to be safeguarded for the for our climate, and the thermal insulation of brick is improved, resulting in lowering of air conditioning. I spoke about this, and the acoustic attenuation also improves and results into expenditure on the soundproofness required to be made in the building structure. So this study has been carried out, and we have came to this conclusion. We could work out the optimized composition for this additive, and this is in a way the process waste generated because of the rocket motor can be very effectively utilized as building material additives, and something like wealth out of waste can be created. Thank you very much to the organizers for giving me this opportunity, and my thanks to my all the co-investigators, those who have helped me in doing this. Dr. Himanshu is also present. He has been the one who has made a lot of efforts in doing this study. Thank you very much. I can take questions now.
Thank you very much, Mr. Praveen. So the floor is open for any questions or clarifications. Please raise your hand or type in the chat box. So until then, Praveen, so
Yeah.
and, do you have any idea about the durability of the bricks?
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, Dr. Udita, see, this is the prime requirement of putting any additives. So as I was mentioning that we don't compromise with the key characteristics, that is the water absorption and the compressive strength of the brick while putting these additives. That ensures that the durability of the bricks so arrived are not compromised. And typically any civil engineering structures is taken life as 99 years. So it remains like that. In fact, the advantage of this is that the entire chemical waste gets regenerated, gets recycled in this fashion. And once the life of the structure is over, it gets mixed with the Mother Earth again.
Okay.
So there is no effect on the durability of the brick. In fact, if we have water absorption increases, it does affect the durability of the brick. So we have kept all the key characteristics within the same range as per the brick standard BS, where these values are tightly controlled.
Okay. What is the kind of particle size of the waste?
Okay, actually, they come as a lump. So what we have done is we have grinded them and we made a powdery mix. Our size, what we have utilized is about 300 microns. But we are proposing that it is a possibility that we can go for different size of propellant mix, and the effect of that, how it changes the end property of the brick. That we are proposing that in this further work can be done on that.
I see. Any questions from the audience?
I must thank that they are showing all the slides, because I missed the showing all the slides.
Yeah. Sorry, those kind of things happen during these online presentations. Yes. Okay, there's one question. Okay, couple of questions.
There's one question, yeah.
Yeah, from Mainton. Our previous present, I think, how can this technology reach wider adoption?
Yeah, that's a very important thing, and we propose to do that. This handling of waste is I mean, the safety concerns are there. So what we propose is that we take a particular mix of dough of clay and add this propellant waste in a higher concentration, and then get it to the this industry, which is a cottage industry, and then it is mixed with the larger size of dough, so that the actual percentage what needs to be optimally arrived, that comes out there, and then it is cleaned out there. So this is being worked out, that how it can be effectively utilized, because as I was mentioning, that it can cater for the entire propellant waste created year on year basis in big countries like our country, India, we expect as per our estimate, we are generating about 150 to 200 tons of propellant waste, and this would suffice the entire brick industry in the country. I hope that answers his question.
Yes, I think very clear. Thank you, Praveen. There's another question, but actually the Dr. Himanshu has answered that one in the
Okay.
chat box. Yes. So I think our time is up. So thank you very much again, Mr. Praveen Kumar Mehta. So
Yeah.
over to
Thank
you.
you. Thank you, Dr. Ratnaike, and all the organizers for giving me this opportunity. Thanks a lot.
Welcome. So over to you, Vashuka.
Thank you, Doctor. Now we would like to do a certificate presentation for our presenter, Mr. Praveen Kumar Mehta, on his presentation on sustainable brick production using waste propellant for reduced emission and reduced consumption of kilning energy.
Yeah. Thank you, Rafika.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rafika. So let's move on to the next presenter. Is he there? Paper number 16, NMC Nair.
Yes, here.
Yes, okay, thank you. All right, so NMC Nair is from India, and he's speaking on climate change and sustainable shipping. So over to you, Mr. Nair.
Thank you. I'll share the screen first.
Yes.
Good morning, everybody. I'm presenting this from state of Kerala, southern part of India. During the last 50 days, we experienced 8 low pressure depressions followed with heavy rains. Cities like Chennai, Bangalore, and other southern states got flooded, and life became really tough for the people. All dams are full, all rivers are flooding. 40 years back, it used to be 1 or 2 depressions in the month of November. 20 years back, it was 3 or 4. Now it is 8. And there is a warning for next another 3 days. There is another depression coming up in Bay of Bengal. Climate is changing, that is for sure. I cannot make the presentation. It's not moving.
Would you like me to share your presentation for yourself?
No, I will do it.
Okay, sure.
This is just explaining because yesterday in the keynote speakers, all were explaining this, what is weather, what is climate change. So I'm not going deep into that. Weather can change in few hours. Climate takes hundreds of years to change. These are the signs of climate change. Temperature increases, more drought, wild weather, changing rains, changing rains and snow patterns, like that, whatever is shown there. See, these are two pictures of the same spot taken 63 years apart in August 1941 and 2004. You can see the level of water is down because all the glaciers are gone. It is in Alaska. 63 years, all the glaciers started going off due to greenhouse gas effect. This is the reason for the greenhouse gas. Most of the gas absorbed by the greenhouse gas are reflected in all directions. Some energy is reflected back into space, some absorbed by the radiated as heat. This stays there and it is called greenhouse gases. Climate change threatens people with food scarcity, flooding, infectious diseases, economic loss and displacement, rising sea level, rising ocean temperature and ocean acidification. Wildfires are increasing, drought is increasing, weather is changing. The main cause of climate change is burning of fossil fuel, as everybody says. In this yesterday's presentation, yesterday's keynote speech, everywhere it was saying it is because of burning of fossil fuel like oil, gas, and coal. They release carbon dioxide into the air, causing the planet heat up. This graph by NASA shows the global surface temperature increased, and in 2020 and 2016 it was the warmest. Now it is still further going up. So we will have to reduce it to, that is a decision taken in Paris Accord, to keep it below 1.5 degree. Now it is 1.1 degree. Now it is almost 1.5. This was in 2020. Yeah. The planet's average surface temperature has risen about 1.18 degrees Celsius since late 19th century. Greenhouse gases mainly consist of water vapor, methane, nitrous oxide, sulfur oxide, carbon dioxide, and CFC like freon. All these gases are there because of human action. Nitrogen and NOx and SOx and CO2 are the major gaseous pollutants emitted from fossil fuel. It has significant health and environmental concerns. These are the ways to prevent climate change. Shift to renewable energy like wind, solar, hydrogen, LNG, ammonia. Plan for sustainable transportation. Air pollution prevention. Waste management and recycling. Sea and ocean preservation. With all this, you can control the climate change. This month of November at Glasgow, we had that United Nations Global Climate Summit, COP26. It ended on 12th November with an agreement among nearly 200 nations to accelerate the fight against the climate crisis and to commit to tougher climate pledges. You can see the press release. More than 100 countries have now joined a US and European Union-led coalition to cut 30% of methane gas emission by 2030 from 2020 level, a significant step towards limiting one of the major culprits of climate change. Methane usually comes up from the waste dumped on the land. The global methane pledge covers countries that account for nearly half of global methane emissions and 70% of global GDP. Methane is 84 times more potent than carbon and does not last as long as atmosphere before it breaks down. This makes it a critical target for combating climate change. The pledge includes 6 of the world's 10 biggest methane emitters: US, Brazil, Indonesia, Nigeria, Pakistan, and Mexico. But China, Russia, and India, which together comprises 35% of the global methane emitters, did not join the coalition. Then came the coal. The summit negotiation ended on Saturday, 13th November, with a final deal among nearly 200 nations that for the first time targeted fossil fuels as the key driver of climate change. US and China pledged to slow climate change by controlling the coal consumption and no more new coal plants that you can see on the screen. 28 countries, including China, Singapore, joined. The other 160 countries, and including Vietnam, Morocco, and Poland, committed to building no more coal plants. Major economies, India, Indonesia, and Philippines, and South Africa announced partnership with climate investment funds to accelerate the transition from coal power. Indonesia and Philippines announced pioneering partnership with Asian Development Bank to support the early retirement of coal plants. In October 2021, news: seas will rise for centuries to come. 9 of the 10 megacities at high risk are in Asia, that is by researchers. So by another 30, 40 years, some of the cities on seashore will be like this if we are not controlling the climate change. See the sea level in 1880, it was somewhere here. In 2010, it came up to here. By the time sea swells reached up to this. In 2050, they project that it will reach here, the swells, and sea level will be here. In 2100, sea level will be here, and swells will be up to here.
You have
We don't. Now, electricity generation is slowly converting to wind and solar power. See, in 2020, it used to be like this, with coal, fossil fuel taking the main part, and they want the world to change over to this level. In 2050, it should be solar power, wind power, and no coal, little bit of hydropower, and floating and land-based wind power plants. Earth has an area of 510 million square kilometers, and Earth has 2 lungs, that is what they say. One is with water, one is with forest, trees and forest. Let us keep the lungs clean. With over 90% of the world trade by volume being carried out by sea, the ships and the port fulfill a critical function as link of global supply chains. See, on 23rd November at 12 o'clock, this was a situation in the sea, in the open, in the world, with so many ships plying. The red ones are tankers, green ones are cargo ships. You can see how many ships are there working continuously. With more and more ships sailing each day to different parts of the world, the air pollution caused by them is on the rise and is one of the major concerns. 2 main pollutants from the ship, NOx and SOx, along with CO2, is being attended now. SOx, I think, from 2020, they stopped using.
Your time is up. Can you please conclude?
Yeah, okay. Sustainable shipping. IMO is the arm of United Nations, and they are committed to reducing these greenhouse gas emissions with these rules. Marine pollution, that is called MARPOL 73 and 78, and Annexer 6, last one is prevention of air pollution. Very stringent rules are at sea. All the ships are following these regulations. Pollution by oil, noxious liquid, harmful substance, sewage discharge, ship-generated garbage, atmospheric pollution, anti-fouling paint issues, recycling of ships, all comes under this. The ambition is to reduce the CO2 by at least by 40% in 2030 and 50% by 2050. These are the pictures of oil spills affecting the beaches. See the plastic garbage and the beach pollution. And the sea is polluted like this with all the fishing nets and all the underwater animals and birds are getting stuck in this garbage. From this fish, they have taken out 220 kg of wire from the ship. So developing alternative, these are the projects being implemented in shipping. 1st January, they changed over sulfur content of the fuel oil. Energy efficient ship design came into force in June 2021. EEDI phase 2 is coming up it's in progress. 25 it will be phase 3, 30% reduction. See the ship size increased. See Titanic and the present day passenger ship. The size has increased, so horsepower increased. This ship, the big ship, has a power of more than 1,100,000 horsepower bhp. Can imagine how much oil is being consumed every hour. So wind power ships are coming up. They are designed, many of the ships they are all under trial. Solar powered ships are coming up, and hydrogen powered ships. These are all under trial and on way to coming out to sea. Let us start preparing to control the climate change. It should start from our homes, then to the community, then to the state, then to the country. Change should start at home. Nature is the manifestation of energy. Let us not violate the cosmic law of nature. We should apologize to the nature and try to restore it back, or at least try to maintain the present level. Saga of ingratitude to nature and ungratitude to other human beings is still continuing. Mother Earth is still protecting us as a humiliated but loving mother, and she started warning us with tsunamis, floods, wildfire, viral fever, and drought. These are the things we should start doing. 700 million people are starving, and we waste a lot of food. That waste produces more methane. Stop cutting down trees. We can start supporting the scientists and technologists who are working to have a sustainable living for let us start supporting them. Stop, just unplug the electrical equipments at home, TV, music system, mobile charger, everything. After use, put it off. You will be saving hundreds of thousands of dollars worth fuel, electricity. Wastage of food, avoid it. See, if the world reduces its food waste from now, by 2050, we will be saving 70 gigatons of CO2. 1 gigaton is 100 million tons. That itself shows that we are wasting too much of food. Thank you. Thank you, Brunei. Thank you, Pooja. Thank you, Institute of Marine Engineers.
Thank you, Mr. Nair. So I think we don't have much time now to take any questions. Maybe one question from the audience, if anyone can raise hand or type in the chat box. Or maybe you can type in the chat box and Mr. Nair can answer even later on. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Nair. So
thank you.
Yes, let's move on. And may I hand it over to Ms. Wafika.
Okay, now we would like to present the certificate to Mr. NMC Nair on his climate change and sustainable shipping presentation. There you go.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much again, Mr. Nair and Rafika. So let's move on to the last presentation with me today. So the next presenter is Amit Singh. Also, Saksena. Are you here?
Yeah, good morning. Yeah, this side Amit. Yeah, Sarthak is on next connection, so probably
Okay,
will be not
thank
available.
you. Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
So let me share my screen.
Right. So Mr. Amit will be presenting on emerging smart technology for sustainable development. So over to you, Amit.
Good morning, everyone. This side Amit from India, from North State, Uttarakhand. I'm going to present emerging smart technology for sustainable development. And as previous presenter have already briefed about how this is climate change is happening and how it's affecting the other area, but adding on a little bit on that. Like by 2050, our world population will boost to 9.7 billion, and there's going need for the food, water, energy, and it will be like never before. We already seeing the impact of climate change, like global warming, sea level rise, melting of the glacier, frequent extreme weather events, widespread coastal flooding, etc. So leading to adverse impact such on the human health, food production, water availability, and biodiversity. And climate change is real, and if not tackled, it's a doom days for humankind. And with science has an answer, technology has answer, we can make it better with the new technology and sustainable living. So here, few of the technology which is really helping us and trying to bring it change, like big data and artificial intelligence, 5G, digital twin, 3D printing, intelligent robotics, carbon sequestration, and the Internet of Things. Big data and artificial intelligence is like we cannot manage if we cannot measure. That is so we are capturing more and more data. We are trying to analyze it. So where this big data and AI is helping, so that the real kind of applications can be developed and accordingly propose solution which can reduce the carbon footprint and adopting the sustainable solution into the supply chain. The fifth generation of the wireless mobile phone and technology, known as a 5G, is super fast broadband communication and a speed up to 2.5 gigabytes per second, allowing the remote location to communicate vast amount of the data quickly. As previously, our technology limitation, we cannot access the data from the remote location, but with the coming 5G, as bandwidth is quite large, and these can be captured and huge complex of a smart grid and the connecting billions of the data point across huge destination, like from used wind turbine to rooftop solar panel, and from the electric vehicle battery to Internet of this thing, dishwasher, working on a demand response basis. Processing all this big data alongside the AI-led local weather prediction would ensure every watt of the renewable energy can be utilized as cheaply and efficiently as possible at the any given moment. On 17th of November, multinational technology company Niveda has announced plans to build a digital twin of the Earth that would be able to forecast and display potential climate changes impacts. Earth 2 would be supported by this company platform and real-time simulation and the collaboration platform. So with this, we can have a lot of information and real-time solutions can be provided with the getting all the information from the digital twin Earth. 3D printing is also playing a major contribution to reducing our waste. And with this, we can develop a lot of solutions where it is really helping on the saving of the energy and the storage. intelligent robotics is really helping to fight climate change. Like variety of the robots already being developed that can help preserve the environment by fighting wildfires, helping manage waste and clean oceans. Intelligent robots can help automate and carry out the environment-friendly tasks with utmost efficiency without tiring. Like this is the robot, so at 20, they can work 24/7. There's no fatigue, and it will be like automatically monitoring the real-time solutions and taking the actions. And applications of the robotics for sustainability, like fighting wildfire, connected Wi-Fi, waste management, restoring the oceans, and renewable energy. Carbon sequencing. I mean, this is like a little bit very interesting research work going on, but this way is we are like providing the long-term removal solution. Like this is which is if it is applicable in proper manner, we can capture CO2 in soil and very stable manner. It will not put any kind of negative impact. So one of the carbon dioxide capture and stores where carbon dioxide is captured at its sources from the power plant, industrial process, then transported by the pipeline or by ships to the safe storage subsequently in non-atmospheric reservoir like duplicated oil and gas reservoir, unminerable coal seams, and deep saline formation and deep oceans. Terrestrial carbon sequestration, which means using the plants to capture the CO2 from the atmosphere and then restoring it as a carbon in the stem and the root of the plant as well as in the soil. So if you can see like here how this is a process going on from power plant and from other sources, and it is stabilized in the soil. Internet of Things is also like kind of digital skin of a planet, and industrial Internet of Things measures the impact of industrial process and the human activity through sensors that can be monitor a whole range of factors, including everything from air and the water quality to assessing pollution level around the factories, river, and the cities. The technology can also identify the more indirect impact of the climate change by measuring the things such as the flow, river levels, wind speed, land erosion, and the activity of the bees and the beehives, and tracking animals or vegetation in impacted areas. Internet of Things innovation in sustainable development, like companies have analyzed showing the LOT potential in the significant saving carbon emission. In official analysis of the European Commission dated November 2018, the Internet of Things was named as a transition element in how buildings, appliances, and energy system of building can be synchronized to optimize energy flow and reduce emission. Once fully operational, Internet of Things has been projected to reduce global carbon emission around 20%. And the solutions which is available nowadays based on the Internet of Things, almost 84% of the devices are meeting the UN Sustainable Development Goals, and 19% of these focus on the affordable and the clean energy. The sources took from the World Economic Forum 2018. There's a few applications where Internet of Things is playing a big role in agriculture and livestock industry. As mentioned, like Internet of Things is a distress skin of a planet. So in farming, precision agriculture is the use to minimize the use of water, fertilizer, and the pesticides. This is obviously contributing to negative impact of fertilizer and the pesticides. The technology monitors soil minerals, temperature, and moisture. This helps improve and increase yields and minimizing the use of both resources and the land. Internet of Things says.
You have to.
Oh, sorry. LOT sensor in the soil and environment, alongside the use of algorithm, grow recipes can improve the management of the farm resources. And this can also help to reduce the harmful impact of the greenhouse by the livestock. There is a potential for reduced methane from the ruminant to livestock health monitoring, for example, monitoring dietary health and temperature of animals to identify the treated animal, which helps to reduce greenhouse emission. There is a certain industry where really this LOT is playing big role and minimizing the waste, bringing the good solutions. a sustainable solution to all the various industries like manufacturing industry, supply chain, logistic, energy. Yeah, and in energy like energy and electricity market, smart street lighting is being used to reduce the consumption, and leakage sensor in the water and the gas pipe are used to detect and the repair losses caused by the leaks. Predictive maintenance, extension of the lifetime of the goods can be also attributed to the introduction of the LOT solutions. Predictive maintenance of goods, including cars, electrical goods, and the construction equipment can enable longer utilization cycle. This means fewer breakdown and replacement, ultimately reduction of the waste. This is like a kind of the model where, like, with our technology, where we have, like, everything connected vehicle, smart grid, all are connected, and where we can get the data and it can be analyzed and given to the various agency, so that real kind of actions can be taken to minimize the water leakage or emission or traffic control, noise pollution. So all are the like smart and intelligent solutions, which is obviously going to contribute if this kind of the cities, I mean, a lot of places it is under construction, but hopefully in a coming future, we are going to see this smart city.
Your time is up. Could you please conclude? Yeah.
Yeah, this is like conclusion part. And this is a sustainable score of our climate change. Here, there's a like 100% is our target, but different part of the world categories, they are trying to put effort, but still we are like, somewhere here or 78% relevant to our climate goal. So the concentration of the carbon dioxide atmosphere is approaching 410 part per million. That has already driven global temperature, as mentioned by previous presenter also, 1.18 centigrade. There is hardly an ocean that doesn't realize the necessity of sustainable approach. With a strong policy, global financial inclusion, and the technological involvement may help to achieve the sustainable development goal by 2030. The price is high, but it's worth paying when human well-being is at stake. Thank you so much. This is some references from this above content is taken. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Amit Singh. So the floor is open for any questions or clarifications from the presenter. You can raise your hand or type in the chat box. Hello, any questions? Okay, I mean, just until others come up. Now, to get the data, you need a kind of a network of sensors. So how are you proposing to manage that?
Sorry, sir?
Yeah, so to get the data for various climate factors and all that, you need a network of sensors, isn't it? So
yeah,
how,
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, this sensors are like, there is an architecture of like, industrial Internet of Things. Over there, you have like gateway, you have the cloud. So different industry has like, I mean, take the solutions from the third party, like, Amazon, Cisco. So yeah, obviously we need the sensor, which is the first point of contact, which collecting the data. data. So this is like, depend upon the which industry we are applying this, applying these solutions. Obviously, like, for like, if we are monitoring the air pollution, so we have like, how measure this kind of SOx, NOx, particle matters. So all the sensor capture the data, and it is provided to the gateway, and from the gateway it goes to cloud, and we have like software which analyze all this and give the real time of like, what is the situation in the city, how much is the like, different level of pollutions. Accordingly, various solutions can be proposed. I mean, like, you can control your traffic, you can advise, or an even policy, like we have a lot of countries. You can suggest to the people over there in which a part of city you have more concentration of this gases, so that like, people can be alert, and they can take accordingly step to minimize those things.
And
Yeah, please.
and you can sort of communicate with some controllers as well, is it?
Yeah, I mean, this is like kind of architecture where you have like, with the help of the software, with the gateway and the cloud, and all together like your integrated solution where various agencies can be connected. And it's depend upon what kind of software. Maybe you get alert regular interval, or it's all depend upon how we are setting, what is the requirement of customer end user.
Okay. So the responsibility of the data, is it with the source, or you once you collect it, it will be with you?
Responsibility of data, like, if it is the like, from the government agency, yeah, they are the responsible. If if some company is like, if you are applying this solution in certain kind of industry, then yeah, obviously this is the responsibility of their there. So it's depend upon who is using, and if it is not a government, if it is individual industry, obviously it depend upon the who is trying to collect.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Amit Singh. So I think I will conclude the session here, and I would like to thank all the presenters as well as the audience on behalf of Pooja for your contributions here. And now I will hand over to Wafika for the presentation.
Okay, now we would like to move on with the certificate presentation. I would now like to invite Mr. Amit Singh to present his presentation on emerging smart technology for sustainable development.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Pooja. Thank you, organizer. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you, sir. Now we would like to invite the next moderator for the next session, Dr. Yong Chi Tuan. Yes. Okay, sir, now the floor is yours. You are on mute. Sorry. Sorry, sir, you are on mute.
Is it?
Okay, now we can hear you.
Okay. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the following sessions. Later on in these slots, we are scheduled for 5 presentations. At the moment, I have not contacted 3 with me. I think we have Casey Naik Wadi, Vaishari Mishra. So far, Vaishari Mishra. We have Indrani Ghosh. And I'm still looking for Hongpa, Wunpacha, as well as Dr. Rht Singh. Welcome, Dr. Just to start with, we have 5 presentations for this morning sessions until 12:45. So just a reminder of the ground rule, you are located, each paper presentation is allocated 10 minutes of presentation with another 5 minutes of Q&A. So those who are interested to post your questions, put in the chat box. We will try to answer as many as we can due to the time constraint. We'll start with the first presentation now for this 15-minute slots will be Dr. Rht Singh. He's currently with us. His paper is on comparative evaluations of industrial air pollution control equipment based on average sustainable manufacturing scores. So without further ado, I will just invite Dr. Rht Singh and his co-author, if he's joining us. Yes, Dr. Rht Singh.
Thank you, sir, and very good morning and good afternoon to all the participants here. And I'm really thankful to the organizers for giving us an opportunity to present a small portion of our little research which we carried out. So this is on behalf of my co-authors, and this was a part of a research work under the doctoral thesis of one of the scholars under Professor S.P. Lal. So he's not joining today, but I am one of the co-guides and co-authors, and I'm presenting it from our side.
Okay. Dr. Singh, can you, maybe your voice is a bit soft. It's just mic,
Right.
yeah, bring it closer so that we can hear better. Thank you.
Is this better, sir?
Yes, yeah, if you can just, getting closer to your mic.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And so the topic of today's presentation is comparative evaluation of sustainability status of various steel manufacturing organizations, considering the case study of industrial pollution control equipments. So if you look into precisely the important aspects in this particular research is been listed here in the first slide of this PPT, and these slides talk about that here we have considered creating a mathematical model, and this mathematical model is been created with an objective to investigate the linkages between sustainable manufacturing and whatever the possible innovations happening. And the case study considered here is industrial pollution control equipments. The entire work was been carried into 2 portions. The first portion we called it as the initial study, which we are calling it incidence network approach, which is a very basic work, but was very important to move ahead and to take a little deep dive and create the entire sustainable manufacturing scores of various participating organizations. The corner points of this research was we considered here the concept of adoption time of innovations happening in organizations, adoption cost happening, and basis that the various indicators of sustainable manufacturing which were been selected and classified by doing a lot of literature review was been related with each other. Now, moving to the next slide, there were 6 organizations which were been considered, and under these 6 organizations, 4 organizations, under these 4 organizations, 6 innovations were considered, and these 6 innovations were in the areas of bag filters, scrubbers, ECPs, that is electrostatic precipitators with different outlet emissions. And there was some pictorial representation which we actually created basis the organization which was been involved in creating these innovations and the organizations which were been adopting this new technologies coming into picture. So this is a nutshell, the table which talks about that which are the companies. So companies are coded here as A, B, C, D, as you see in the first column, and these companies are been considered as nodes 1, 2, 3, 4, and the innovations are considered as innovation 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In the third column has been written, and each of the innovation has been mentioned in front of it what the company has done. Now, basis this, an incidence approach was been used, and an incidence diagram was been created, that which organization actually generated what innovation and which adopted. And the last two columns talks about the summary of this branches getting generated and terminated. So this is the incidence diagram which I was been talking about. So basis this simple incidence diagram, we could able to find out from where the innovation been flowing and which organization actually followed the innovations and adopted the innovations. But being a very preliminary studies, it didn't talk about the adoption time, cost, etc. And we used a simple matrix to calculate sustainability scores, which has been presented here. So as you can see here, we have been assigning +1 if a branch leaves a particular node, means if an organization has created an innovation and is passing out to other organization, and organization gets 0 if enters the node or it adopts any innovations, and if it doesn't touches a node, means any organization is not adopting any innovation, then it gets -1. So a small matrix was been created here. As you can see, organization A, B, C, D on the column side, and on the row side the innovations have been mentioned. Basis which organization has adopted which innovation. Let's say organization A adopted innovation 1, invented innovation 1, so it has been assigned score 1. So basis this, the matrix was been created, and then the scores were summed up, which has been shown on the right hand side. So but just by looking at the scores, it's a very, very crude way of finding out that whether the organization was agile enough to adopt any innovation or not. But this was a very, very preliminary and a very initial study which we did. So we decided that okay, let's move ahead and take a little bit more a deeper dive by bringing in adoption time, cost, life cycle assessment, cost, etc., and also the indicators of sustainable manufacturing into picture. And then we moved into actually a proper detailing of the mathematical model. And this mathematical model, as I told you, is based on adoption time, cost, as well as the indicators. These indicators or the components having indicators and variables are been researched by looking into a lot of literature and finding out from there. Basis a very simple process of weighted average method, sustainable manufacturing indexes or indices have been created for various organizations, and then the organization been ranked basis their agility of adopting this sustainable manufacturing scores activities. So these are some of the basic pillars basis which the mathematical model was been done. We decided that we will rank or we will assign scores from 0 to 1 basis the adoption time by any organization to adopt any innovation. The second point talks about that organization or an innovator gets 1 for innovating technology, and the rest who actually adopt the technology will get a score between 0 to 1, and it is on the linear scale. The formula which was been used to create and find out the value of maximum adoption time was simply 1 minus the adoption TJK by T max. So TJK is like time taken to adopt any particular jth innovation by a kth organization, and T max was the maximum time adopted by any of these organization. So that was the ratio taken, and it was been subtracted from 1. So that gives us a normalized adoption time. So normalized was to create a level playing field comparing all the organizations together. Basis this concept, a simple matrix was been created here, which is shown in the tabular form. As you can see, the column 1 talks about innovations, innovation 1 to 6, and column 2 is the maximum adoption time of any organization. So if you see the 4 columns on the right hand side, so these are some of the adoption time. Now organization A has invented technology 1, so the adoption time is been assigned 0. And likewise, organization B, C, D who has adopted this technology. So B has taken 15 months, C has taken 10, and D has taken 12. So the maximum adoption time is 15. And basis the previous formula which we shown, we created this normalized data for adoption time, which has been shown in the brackets. So all have come into fraction, and the maximum value has somebody has got is 1, or the minimum value somebody has got is 0. Now, moving ahead, another important component was adoption cost of the innovation technology. So the adoption cost actually included the fixed cost and life cycle assessment cost. A lot of survey was been done here to figure out what was the cost involved in doing all these innovations and adopting these innovations, and including even LCCA. LCCA means life cycle assessment and life cycle costing as well. Means for 6 years we considered it, and for 6 years for maintaining that particular technology, what is the cost associated. So basis these two components, again a matrix was been created. As you can see, column 1 is the innovations, and then the rows are the organizations A, B, C, D, and again whatever the cost has been incurred for either inventing a technology or adopting a technology was been considered, and normalized data was been obtained by taking the ratios of the total costs. So the total cost occurred for all the innovation taken together was been considered, and the cost incurred divided by the total cost gives us the normalized data. So basis these two normalized data, we were supposed to now link various components, indicators and variables of sustainable manufacturing to create the manufacturing indexes. This table is a very comprehensive table which talks about that what are the various components which has been considered here. There are 4 components, as you can see in the first row. First is environmental science, second is environmental stresses, third is the human vulnerability, and fourth is the social and institutional capacity. Under these 4 components, there were various indicators which were been assigned. The first, as you can see, the second column, second row, the indicators row. The first indicator for environmental system was ambient air quality, and that was the only one. The second, that is environmental stresses, were having 3 indicators: biodiversity, ecosystem stresses, waste and consumption pattern. Likewise, for all the components, the indicators were been defined, and for each of these indicators, the variables were actually been defined, that what are the variables which need to be actually captured and basis which the indexes has to be created. So as you can see in the last row, there were in total 26 variables which have been considered. So the entire focal point of this
Professor Singh, if I may ask you to wrap it up in 1 minute time.
Sure, sir.
Yeah,
thank you. So basis this, all the innovations when been linked with these components, the relative weights were been attached, as you can see in the second column, and using the relative weights and the innovations and node branch transfer values assigned, the total sums were been taken, and the sustainability index WI was been obtained for each of the innovations. So we got WI, that is sustainability index for 6 innovations, and basis the WI, XA is nothing but is the ratio of the adoption time by adoption cost, and so X size rather. So for each of the individual company A, B, C, D, WI into XI was been calculated, and again percentage of the scores was been evaluated. So as you can see here in the second last row, so the organization B has got the highest score which has been obtained basis a scale of 1:100, that is 35.90, and it was been ranked first. So this was a small innovative method by which we tried to compare organization basis their adaptability to any innovations for sustainable manufacturing activities which any organization has been carried. And we felt that probably such kind of mathematical models will be required to postmortem any of the activities happening within a bigger manufacturing organization, to figure out that whether or how much on any particular scale they are innovation friendly as well as sustainable friendly. And this is what from my side, and I thank the organization for giving this opportunity to speak about this particular research. Thank you, Professor.
Thank you, Professor Singh. I'm waiting for anybody to interested to put questions. Please post it in your chat box. At the moment, I not seen any questions being raised at the moment. Perhaps anything. Perhaps Professor Singh would like to ask you one question regarding this average sustainable manufacturing scores. Are you aware of any other countries that adopt this average sustainable manufacturing scores method?
Yes,
Besides,
sir. I mean, there has been a lot of different indexes which has been properly been, you can say, researched and designed. Like we use Dow Jones Sustainability Index, and it has been used widely by all the countries. But as far as manufacturing scores are concerned, I have not seen it. So, but there are ways and methods by which the sustainability indexes are been given, like I mentioned about Dow Jones.
that would be interesting. I think many of the ASEAN countries could look at it and then adopt it as a best practice. Now, yes. In that case, I will pass it back to our host at the moment to thank Professor Singh for your presentations and your joint paper on this comparative evaluations of industrial air pollution control equipment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Would the host like to acknowledge?
Thank you, Doctor. Now we would like to present a certificate to Dr. Saranjit Singh for his presentation on comparative evaluation of industrial air pollution control equipment based on average sustainable manufacturing scores. Sorry, it's taking a while.
Yeah, it's a screen issue. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Saranjit Singh.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, everyone.
Now I pass it back to Dr. Yong.
Thank you. Our next presentations is a paper by K.C. Naidwadi on how Indian environmental laws have enabled India to overcome the disasters of climate change and to protect the environment. So I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome K.C. Naidwadi to join us the presentations. Welcome. You're mute. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you, sir. I am K.C. Naidwadi, Managing Director of Innova Energy Consultants from India. My paper is How Indian Environment Laws Have Enabled India to Overcome the Disasters of Climate Change and to Protect the Environment. This paper is 10 pages, but I have made 11 slides, quite descriptive. And the World Meteorological Organization has defined climate as sum total of temperature, precipitation, wind over the last 30 years. They take 30 years as the block period. Okay, what was the highest maximum average temperature of India 30 years back? It was 47.3. And what is today's maximum average temperature? It is 47.59. Means over a period of 30 years, the temperature in India has increased only by 0.29 centigrade, which is within the limits. The reasons assigned for the disaster of climate change are enumerated in WMO as global sea level rising, melting of Arctic sea ice, ocean acidity increasing due to dissolving of carbon dioxide, expansion of deserts, crop failures, and coastal flooding. Which industries have caused the global warming? They have analyzed 29% of the greenhouse gases are emitted by transportation vehicles, and 25% of the greenhouses are emitted by electricity generation, coal-based. So altogether, 54% of the greenhouse gases are due to two components. One is the transportation, other is green. There is a need to reduce the greenhouse gases. If you tell somebody reduce greenhouse gases, they will say, okay, we'll reduce. But at the end of 5 years or 10 years, if you ask them again how much you are reduced, they will not be able to quantify. And also, there should be a mechanism which forces the people and the government to follow and implement it. Now, in the Constitution of India, there is a separate chapter called Directive Principles of State Policy. In that, Directive Principles of the State Policy, Indian Constitution casts a duty upon India that it shall endeavor to protect and improve the environment. In order to achieve this objective, India has enacted so many acts to see that this is done. Okay, the first act on Environmental Protection Act in India was in 1986. This is the first law. There were some laws before this, but they have put together and they have made it Environmental Act 1986. This Environmental Act 1986 is also Umbrella Act because it provides the framework to the central government in order to make the coordination between different states as well as central authorities. And a punishment is imposed, which is very important. If anyone contravenes, the punishment is up to 5 years or fine of rupees 1 lakh or both. The next act is Forest Conservation Act 1980. The act sought to consolidate and reserve the areas having forest cover or significant wildlife to regulate the movement and transit of forest produce and duty leviable on timber and other forest produce. If anyone contravenes, simple imprisonment of 15 days will be imposed on the defaulter. The next act is Wildlife Protection Act 1972. The main object of this act is to provide protection to the wild animals, birds, and plants. The act empowers the central government to declare certain areas as sanctuaries or national parks. The act prohibits hunting of wild animals, birds, etc. If anyone contravenes, the imprisonment is up to 3 years and fine. Then Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1974. The main objectives of Water Act are to provide for prevention, control, and abatement of water pollution. If anyone contravenes, the imprisonment of 3 months and fine of rupees 10,000. The next act is Air Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1981. Air, the main objective is to prevent and control the harmful effects of air pollution in India. This act is seen as a first concrete step taken by the government in India to combat air pollution. Section 21 imposes imprisonment of 18 months. Air pollution has become a phenomenal problem, and in my state, in my city of Bangalore, IT capital of India, the air pollution is only 75. The allowable air pollution is 100, that is the unit. In some places in India, it may be more, but on the average, in the entire Indian nation, the air pollution, AQI, air quality index is only 150. Thus, the air in India is still within the permissible limits. This is air pollution. Indian Forest Act 1927. This is to regulate the forest produce, duty leviable on forest produce. It also explains the procedure to be followed for declaring an area as reserved forest, protected forest, or village forest. If anyone contravenes, imprisonment of 6 months and 500 rupees fine. It can be together also. All these laws have enabled India in overcoming the disasters of climate change and in protecting the environment. Then we have this COP26, Coalition of Partners 26 Summit. 26th United Nations Climate Change Conference was held in Glasgow from 31st October 2021 to 12th November, so and so. 151 countries participated to work out a global action on the climate change. The resolution passed was to limit the temperature rise to 1.5 degrees by 2030. Lot of debate and discussions were held in COP26. Some countries came with a proposal that we should do away with coal and coal should be deleted within the next 10 years. But some countries opposed. They stated that coal is the lifeline of their generating stations in certain states, and some states, they did not agree for the resolution to be drawn that this coal should be removed. So finally, it was, instead of removal of the coal, they said only downgrade the utility of coal. That was the limited this. And next summit of United Nations will be held in Egypt next November 2022. Again, there will be introspection of what each nation has done. Now, next. Having seen all these various acts passed in India and a duty imposed on the Indian people as well as Indian states, that if they violate or contravene, there are going to be the penalties. If there are no penalties, people will not be forced. So passing of acts with punishment, punishment is very, very important for controlling this. Otherwise, see, we may be having a good intention, but each national government has got its own objectives and agenda and all that. They are more towards progress, industrial production, etc., etc. Under that pretext, they are foregoing all the requirements. Anyway, finally, to the August body, engineering fraternity over the Asia or globally, I am making 6 suggestions that changing our main energy source to clean and renewable energy like wind turbines, solar panels, and nuclear energy. No more coal-fired generating stations. We should propagate sustainable transportation, ban sale of gasoline-powered vehicles, air pollution prevention, sea and ocean preservation. Lastly, ultimately, the fate of the climate change policy lies with the people's movement. We should organize ourselves and demand our governments to implement those suggestions. Thank you.
Thank you, Nikwadi.
Yeah.
You managed the time very well. Welcome. Now I have remaining for questions from the participants. At the moment, I'm not getting any people to, because anybody for participants, you are interested to post your questions in the chat box, then I will bring it up to Nikwadi and all the remaining speakers. At the moment, I've not seen any, but on my sites, I'll probably ask Nikwadi with you. Law is one aspect of the protection system, but the enforcement is equally important. How much gap do you see the enforcement for the time being to effectively manage the law or to implement the law effectively?
It has been implemented in India all over, and there is very good effect of the punishment of the various acts. People are afraid to do anything contravention because they know there is going to be punishment, even imprisonment or financial and all that. That fear is there. If there is no fear, no mankind will obey anything. Every government is based on the constitution of the respective states, where the state will be imposing restrictions and punishment. I just request all the nations to formulate the various acts for the protection of the climate, but put a rider. If you don't do it, there is going to be punishment. Only then the things will improve. And we have done it successfully in India, and India can be a role model in drafting the various acts for regulating, lowering the climate change. Now, by 2030, the climate change should not exceed 1.5. That is the demand. But how many by 2030, when we meet and discuss state nation-wise, if you analyze, do you think all these nations will achieve limit of 1.5? No. The industrialized nations will not attend even seminars. Some of the seminars they want to evade. It is individually and people's organization. People's organization should be the monitoring mechanism to question the respective governments why you have not reduced to 1.5. It is a responsibility on us. I have concluded. I must be an organizer. I must go with the agenda. I must demand every nation by its name and by its percentage, by its temperature rise. And this monitoring has to be done. You are organizing a seminar, conference, people are giving beautiful explanations, academic theories and all that. Is there anybody to monitor? We meet next year in Egypt in 2022. Everybody will talk. We passed a resolution in Glasgow. We passed the previous resolution in Paris. But what is the outcome? There is nobody to monitor. So the people, finally, whom it affects? Climate change does not affect a nation. Climate change does not affect some groups. It affects the individual person. We people have to organize in the form of organization and demand from the respective governments, see, you are not reduced the greenhouse gases, please do it. And we should be able to punish the respective governments that you are unworthy of governing the people of the world. So this sort of spirit has to be inculcated in every individual. So this Asian Association, what it is doing, apart from conducting the seminar, conferences, passing resolution and giving certificates, you evolve a monitoring mechanism and you start monitoring every nation and tell them openly, you have not reduced. And otherwise you can be punished. Some stringent action has to be taken.
Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your patience. I think that's carry a lot of weight to many of us in the practicing world, and then where we think and we act accordingly. Okay. Without further ado, I'll pass that remaining times to our host to show our appreciations.
Sorry, Mr. Indranil Ghosh, you raised your hand.
Yeah, I have a question. May I ask the question, because question
was
not given.
Please do that. Please do that.
Thank you, Mr. Nakawadi, that you have presented a wonderful presentation, chronologically telling all the acts and rules what we have. But you have highlighted about the assessment model. So you just wait for my presentation. After I think one speaker, I will be presenting my paper, where I will be presenting about a model which can be implemented, which can be adopted in the strategy, as well as assessment. What you were highlighting, it can be done through that model. Thank you very much. This much only I would like to say.
After assessment, propose a monitoring mechanism.
Oh yes, we have already developed one even index, which is called Winner Sustainability Index. Please wait for some time, because during my presentation I will express that.
After Vaishali sessions, I think. Indrani, your sessions is after Vaishali sessions. Yes. I think we are looking forward to that sessions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Yes, I pass it to the host.
Okay, thank you, Doctor, and thank you, sirs. Thank you to Mr. K.C. Naikwadi. Now we're going to proceed with the certificate presentation, yeah? Okay. Thank you, Mr. K.C. Naikwadi, for your presentation. We appreciate it very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now I'm going to pass the floor back to our moderator, Dr. Yong Chitwan.
Okay, thank you for those joining us again. We have the next presentations by Vaisali Misra, and to talk about climate preparedness and management. Welcome, Vaisali.
Thank you so much, Dr. Yong. Just a second. Yeah, let me share my screen.
Yes, please. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Can you please confirm me once? Can you see my screen?
Yes, very well. Yes,
okay.
Clear.
Okay, let's get this started. First of all, thank you so much for the warm welcome, and I feel honored to get invited to share my perspective on this platform. Good morning, everyone. This is Vaishali Mishra from Delhi. It is the capital of India, and today I'm here to present my paper on climate preparedness and management. These are the 5 points that I'm going to cover today. Why climate preparedness? What brought us here? How should we proceed forward in the most optimum way? Some strategies that should be adopted for the betterment, and a few principles to build upon. Why do we need climate preparedness and management? Witnessing the detrimental transformation of the climate around us has raised the alarm. Adaptation to climate change has become crucial to enhance the process of sustainable development and climate resilience. Like it is rightly said, we have not inherited this earth from our forefathers, we have borrowed it from our children. What chain of reaction brought us here? Climate is changing at a very fast pace because of human intervention. It is defined as change in global or local climate patterns, causing imbalance in ratio of depletion and replenishment. We are depleting far much faster than the nature is able to replenish, which may create high fluctuations in temperature as well as changes in weather events, severely causing disasters of varied range of intensity. Now that human behavior has led us to this point in time, how should we proceed in the right direction in the most optimum way? To take a step towards climate disaster preparedness and management, the first step should be identifying the root cause of threat. Accordingly, a plan should be made as to how it can be prevented in optimum way. It is not a one-man's job. Multiple brainstorming sessions should be conducted where qualified people can add to the pool of knowledge, and combining all the ideas, the most effective plan should be proposed. Data collected in the past comes handy. Climate changes happens over a long period. Coming to conclusions on the basis of just present data will not be of much help. Now we talk about some strategies. The key strategies that needs to be adopted includes reducing GHG emissions, efforts to amend current planning processes and policies, standards, land use, physical infrastructure, green infrastructure, individual behavior by promoting education, capacity building, technology, and research. Now, in reducing emissions of GHG gases, the Kyoto Protocol played a crucial role. In 1992, the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change was established to try and stabilize greenhouse gas concentrations sufficiently to prevent toxic emissions from human interference affecting the climatology in such a way that it would have lethal consequences. The UNFCCC created the Kyoto Protocol, which requires the signature of at least 55 parties to the UNFCCC, including Annex 1 countries, which are more developed countries which have to meet emissions reduction targets, accounting for at least 55% of the 1990 emissions of all Annex 1 countries together. As of September 2003, 84 countries had signed the protocol and 117 had ratified to it. The protocol includes unavoidable reductions of greenhouse gas emissions for developed countries. Although the IPCC estimates that developing economies at a faster rate have reduced emissions by a whopping 500 million tons over the past 3 decades, corresponding to more than that of Annex 1 countries under the Kyoto Protocol. New studies clarifies that the chemicals labeled as ozone friendly, they also have a climate footprint. Scientists outlined that expediting the phasing out of these chemicals along with mandatory technical course of action could save emissions equal to half a gain of the protocol. What are some principles that we can build upon moving forward? Whereas climate action plans focus on mitigating greenhouse gas and adaptation plans on preparing for the impacts of climate change, resilience plans seek to enhance communities' abilities to cope with a variety of shocks and stresses, from earthquakes to extreme weather to racial inequity. And 7 principles have become the need of the hour to improve planning. To start with planning, when I say planning, achievable and measurable goal setting and game planning, plans should have the clarity in purpose, vision for the future, well outlined outcomes and objectives that can be measured. Secondly, data points, studying facts rather to make future projections. To combat climate change, cities need data on current situations to make future projections and modeled impacts of those projections. Adopting strategies. Adopting diversified strategies to mitigate, adapt, and achieve the set goals. It is critical to rank identified strategies and attempt to calculate the costs of both implementation and inaction. Fourth point would be broadcasting. Broadcasting the agenda to engage the public. Broad participation is very crucial according to planners. Stronger climate change planning should recognize and seek to address injustices and employ different participatory approaches to ensure all local populations are involved. Coordination. Coordination addressing climate change requires grappling with the inescapable planning challenge, negotiating conflicting priorities, coordinate efforts across planners, sectors, and plans. Whether climate change is addressed in standalone plans or mainstreamed, it requires collaboration. Implementation. Have a clear process for stepwise implementation and monitoring. Many climate mitigation and adaptation plans exist, but research suggests few are put into practice and monitored or even outline clear steps for doing so. One study in the UK finds that although more than 80% of local governments had conducted climate risk assessments by 2010, fewer than 40% had a plan to address them, and none of which had been implemented. Uncertainties. Address uncertainties in climate change. Plans should identify sources of uncertainties and consider different scenarios reflecting the range of possibilities. If I have to conclude, I can conclude in a few simple words that what does my paper stands for. This paper develops an approach that looks at strategies and principles adopted for mainstreaming climate alteration in the disaster preparedness and management context. With rapid industrialization and urbanization, this is the most critical time to work towards adaptation to climate disasters by applying the past learning to the way we prepare ourselves, respond appropriately, and bounce back from future disasters. And thank you so much for giving me this chance. And it has been an amazing conference so far, and I'm looking forward for the rest of the sessions. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vaisali. I'm waiting for questions from the others to pose. For participants, I see like Wadi has pointed, raised his finger, raised his hand, in fact. Yeah, perhaps your mic, Casey, Nick Wadi, Night Wadi.
Acha, Madam Vaishali, whether Kyoto Protocol has achieved its objectives? Have you made an assessment? What was predicted in Kyoto Protocol and today, whether we could achieve the success? Have you made an assessment? Please reply.
Yes, they haven't yet achieved the success that they desired in the beginning, but they are on their way to achieve it. So I did not did a deep analysis about it, but from what I know, they have specific amount of countries that they they have signed for the protocol. So out of those, only 55 has implemented. The problem is in implementation as well. Even if we make a plan, the crucial part is implementation, right? Like you said, till people don't have fear in them to implement something, they are not going to take an action. So taking an action, making a plan is very different from taking an action. So far it has not achieved the success that they really planned for, because of a lot of variables that comes into picture. But yeah, they are on their way to do that. Thank you for your question.
Please make an assessment. When we meet next time, we want to know what is the success story, because theoretically you can speak, I can speak. We are not, you are not government, I am not government. What government does, we should make an assessment. Thank you.
I have a request for the organizer. I have a request for the organizer. It is not a question. I have a request for the organizers. Would you share the contact details of the paper presenters who are presenting today? Because these two gentlemen, Mr. Nakawadi and Vaishali Misra, their presentation I found very, very interesting and relevant, and I would like to contact them in future also. So would you share the email IDs or WhatsApp numbers of these presenters?
Yes, you can note down my email ID, or I'll send
See, I would like the host will contact you guys. I think we'll contact you, and you all can send for information. The papers are available. In fact, Vaishali paper is FP037. It's in the paper sessions. So you will read that and you can correspond with her also. Without any other questions, I will pass it now to the host to show our appreciations to Vaishali.
Thank you, Doctor. I will take a moment, yeah?
Yeah, sure. In fact, Indrani, your sessions will be coming up next after
but I am not able to share it.
Let's wait for the presentation of the certificates to Vaishali first.
Okay.
And while waiting for that also, I'm still searching for Hong Fan. Is Hong Fan getting ready?
Okay, now we would like to present the certificate to Ms. Vaishali Mishra on her presentation on climate preparedness and management. Thank you so much, Miss, for your presentation.
Thank you so much, Vafika.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Vaishali. Next, we have another interesting paper also by Indrani Ghosh on sustainability business model to tackle climate change.
Okay.
And the floor is yours, Indrani.
Good morning and good afternoon, everybody. Is my presentation visible to you?
Yes, yes.
So this is my presentation. I would like to present about a sustainability business model which can be used for tackling climate change. Basically, when we talk about excellence towards sustainability, we need to, as Mr. Nakawari was telling, that we need an assessment and implementation. So this is a small approach towards that. So it is basically a journey towards excellence. So my paper is based on that. So first of all, my theme is the main theme, what you have already seen, that the engineering and climate change, and sub-theme is engineering education, research and innovation development. So we all know engineering or technology of climate change have very intimate but complex relationship, because climate change is one of the offshoots. Engineering activity is one of the offshoots of the climate change. Engineering activity causes climate change, is aborts climate change, arrests climate change, and prevents climate change. So these are we all know these. there's albedo and climate change effect. But the problem is how the global warming takes place and what is the role of the industries in global warming. Till then, up to this, we are all okay. We know that global warming is a real concern and climate change is also happening. Seasonal pattern is also changing because of this global warming. Now, let us see the roles of industries. Now, industry is a process, right? Any industry is a process. So inputs of these industries are energy, water, chemical, raw materials, etc. And output is the product which what this industry produced. And while changing from input to output, these industry, they do a lot of emissions. They discharge a lot of emission from the process. They get emission from the combustion. Side by side, they also make a lot of wastages, solid and liquid waste, as well as energy waste. Here, I would like to highlight about the energy waste. Now, what happens? Now, if you calculate a simple formula for the industries for the climate change, how they are responsible for the climate change is the energy waste brings about climate change. Basically, energy waste is wastage of money. So to avoid climate change, it is essential that to reduce and avoid the energy wastage. Now, please keep in mind, I am talking about the energy wastage, which is done by the industries. Now, waste energy generates heats and pollutants, and they are responsible for carbon, that climate change. Up to this point, all we are okay. Now, for tackling this climate change, what you have to do? Basically, what you have to do is, wastages need to be assessed and controlled through strategizing it through a sustainability model. Now, you highlight my point. One, I am talking about the assessing. Second, I am talking about the strategizing, and how to do this assessment and strategizing is done through a sustainability model. You see, basically, all the industries are trying to produce maximum because they want to make profit. And to lead, grow, and become a winner, everybody is in the rat race. Everybody is trying to become number one. And so it is very, very important that we should identify these our areas of concern, and you have to strengthen it. So this identifying the area of concern and the strengthening it is the main thing. Then one thing is only possible is through improvement. Now, how we get the improvement? Improvement comes from information. Information will give you the intention. Intention is the imagination, then implementation, and finally you get the innovation. So this is how this 5I model, or sometimes we call it for 6I models. It is working on that because 5th I is the entrepreneurship, right? So now we have to achieve sustainable business. Now every business has a goal. Is to earn profit, not only profit, earn a sustainable profit. That means you need a sustainable business. Now, for sustainable business, what we have to do is we have to include those who are affected by the business. That means you have to identify the concerned person, the persons who have interest in your business. So we have to understand the triple bottom line very well. So health, safety, environment is the essential element of a business stability. So balancing this triple bottom line is very, very important for getting a sustainability. So integrating health, safety, and environment into the sustainability provides the opportunity to better protect the environment and people to achieve a truly sustainable organization. Now look at this pyramid. Now this pyramid is called sustainable business pyramid. Now if you see the bottom of the pyramid, so that means for getting a sustainable business, you have to create this pyramid. Now if you see this pyramid, bottom of the pyramid is quality, environment, health, and safety. Now, if you convert them into ISO terms, quality is ISO 9001, environment is ISO 14001, and health and safety is ISO 45001. So that means if we strengthen this bottom of the pyramid, ultimately what we will be doing is we will be strengthening our triple bottom line. So we have to strengthening the 3P. That means profit, people, and planet. But here I will be talking about only the plan. So that means one thing is very, very important, that poor planning prevents performance. So we need a model which will talk about planning as well as which will talk about the performance. So how we get this planning and performance? So I will, before going to the main model, I will just give you a brief how it is done, how the approach for sustainability should be. So approach for sustainability should be, should start with a gap analysis through audit and assessment. That means gap, you have to identify which are the gap exist in the industry. So far, the wastages are concerned, which I was talking about. So identify the low-hanging fruits, which can be done very easily. If required, we may take help of consultant for handholding. And also, we have to side by side through learning and growth, learning and development. We have to develop the competency. We have to develop the awareness. And this is the only way we can strive towards sustainable business excellence. Now, if you look at the model is made on this basis of this pyramid. Number one is compliance. Compliance means legal and regulatory requirement, which we need to comply. That is the basic requirement. Then next step comes continuous improvement, then integration of all the activities, then comes innovation, leadership, and sustainable business performance. That is how the pyramid has to be built. What I discussed here, it has to come from this, right? So we have developed a model which is called business sustainability model framework, or we have named this model as a winner sustainability model. And we have already have a copyright registration for this. And this model is based on various environmental acts, regulation, and policies. And this module is split into 10 distinct modules. So this entire model is divided into 10 distinct modules. So protocol, so based on various rules, regulations, acts, and maybe the policies, the protocol is being made, and this protocol is based on environmental policy, environmental conservation, and environmental protection, including the Forest Protection Act, which just now we heard about, right? So now you can see the protocol is based on some legal and regulatory requirements which are already in place. Now this protocol, after you make the protocol, it is divided into 10 modules. Now what are these 10 modules? Module number 1 is leadership and governance. Module 2 is legal, regulatory, and regulatory requirements, which is called compliance. Then module 3 is very, very important, which is talks about the risk assessment, including the environmental risk. That means what harm our activity may do to the environment, that risk needs to be assessed. Then module 4 is about work management. Module 5 is occupational safety. Module 6 is people's competency, learning, and development. That means people should know what they are doing and how they can improve their performance. Module 7 is human focus. Human focus includes not only the employees, but also the society which is living nearby, and also the people and flora, fauna, and the plants in the environment. Module 8 is environment, impact on climate change, and 9 is social responsibility, and module 10 is business and operational excellence. Now, if you see the module numbers 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, and 9 will be helpful to develop and deploy the climate change strategy for the organization. Now I am not talking about the nation, I am talking about the industries which will polluting the atmosphere, and those who are responsible for the climate change. Now you can see this model they can adopt, and by adopting this model, they can do lot of improvement in that. And based on this module, we have also made one sustainability index, which we have named as Winner Sustainability Index. By monitoring this Winner Sustainability Index, the organization can understand where their location position is, and government also can help it. If government implements this Winner Sustainability model, they also can understand which industry is performing better than the others, and accordingly action may be taken on the industries. Those who are award can be given those who are performing good as per the Winner Sustainability Index, and also punishment can be given those who are not doing so good, right? So everything you will find in my book named Romance with Risk is Business, but Romance with Business is Sustainability. So that means ultimately the business and sustainability has a very, very core relationship. Romance with Risk is Business, and Romance with Business is Sustainability is name of the book, where I have talked about people, planet, and the profit. Now that ends my presentation. I have tried to keep it as short as possible. Now the floor is open for question and answer. You can ask me any question.
Thank you. Rani, you're keeping the time very well. I'm now opening up the floor to participants to raise questions. At the moment, I'm just waiting for anyone to post their remark here. And I see the chat groups, and I still wait. I have not seen any I have not seen anything from the chat group.
Naik Wadi is there.
Okay. Our good friends, Naik Wadi, please.
Yeah, Naik Wadi, please.
Your mic.
Naik Wadi, his mic is mute.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
I
it's
agree
on
with
now.
you. Wastage of energy has resulted in climate change. That is correct.
One of the reasons.
Have you done any field studies? Please quote an example.
Okay. Now this winner sustainability model, which we have made based on lot of studies. All right. First of all, it has been made lot of studies, and that is why I have taken a copyright for that. Now this model we have implemented in various organizations based on winner sustainability model. I will not name the company because it is not appropriate to name the company. I can tell you the industry where we have done. We have implemented this model in the strategy as well as assessment in one of the largest automobile manufacturing company in India. Okay. So they used to generate a lot of waste, and they were not knowing what to do with the waste. Innovation, and ultimately it worked. Actually, once you identify the areas of concern, automatically you do something to act something to tap those areas. So this is how this happened in one of the automobile industry. Secondly, one more company I will talk about. They have a chain of 5-star hotels and resorts in India. So they were also a little bit shaky because they were not able to implement the solar energy because that aesthetics will not be good. So and one of the resort had a very underground tunnel, around 1.5 kilometer underground tunnel in the resort. And their services, that means the room services, etc., they used to follow that tunnel because they didn't want their employees should be seen on the resort area. So I told them that how you can really act on it, and their municipality was not accepting their waste. So I told them, now you have a problem. So you have really a technological problem, how to convert them. So why don't you start with the assessment first? First make it a strategy and do the assessment. Now, when they formed this strategy and started assessing, and we were auditing and assessing these organizations, and we found out which are the areas where they should look into, otherwise they were doing very haphazardly, they could find that only one point, that is the loss of heat. That means because the steam water scheme, they were supplying to all the resort rooms for heating. I said that our assessment found out that only the steam is something. If you can reduce the consumption, then you can not only you can save a lot, you can contribute to the environment also. And they did that. And next time when I went for assessment, they showed us, yes, only a very simple thing like steam generation can be a contributor to the climate change and environment. Right, sir? Yes, sir.
My next question is, what were the emissions before? What were the emissions after? Have you quantified?
Yes, it has to be. It has to be. See, entire model is applied to the strategy itself. When we talk about strategy,
have you quantified?
Yes.
Statistics.
Yes. I will tell you, because the figures I am not in a position to give you immediately, but I can offline. I can definitely tell you. See, based now while strategizing, what we did, we started from vision, mission, etc. Then we came to a balance scorecard. The moment we have balance scorecard, balance scorecard has 4 prospect phase, financial, customer, internal processes, and learning and growth. Everywhere we have quantified. In processes also we quantified. In customers, in terms of money also we quantified. And in finance, automatically it comes because it is money. Above all, it is money. And learning and growth also. How many people were trained, how many people were trained, all those things are quantified. Even emission is also quantified. And emission comes into 2-3 places, not only 2, actually all 4 places it comes. One, finance. Second is customer, because customer is paying. Third is internal processes, is very much comes in the internal processes, and learning and growth.
I need additional details. I'll send you a mail.
Right, sir. I am there always to help you. I can share my book also to you.
No, interesting.
Okay.
Thank you. We are just fortunate that we have this additional time for us to have this interesting discussion among ourselves. And I'm also welcome participants who join in or who have joined in just recently to raise their questions, also to post their questions in the chat box if you have any. And I think we can also have questions to our previous speakers, from Dr. Saranjit Singh to Nick Wadi, to also to Vaisari and so on. And those coming on, yeah. But if there's nothing, then I perhaps thanks Indrani Ghosh for your very lively and interesting paper as well, to think globally and act very locally, kind of concepts of sustainability business model concept. And I will pass that to host to show our appreciation to Indrani Ghosh.
Thank you, Doctor. Now we would like to proceed with the certificate presentation to Mr. Indranil Ghosh on his presentation on sustainability business model to tackle climate change.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your time.
Thank you very much. How I can download this certificate?
I can email this to you.
Okay, fine. Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now I pass the floor back to Dr. Yong.
Thank you. Welcome back to our last session, last slots of the presentations. I hope it's by Hong Fan Wongpa-chan is with us. The title of presentation is Hydropower Dam Development in Laos and its Effects. So I'd like to welcome Hong Fan Wongpa-chan. Are you around there? So far, I think your mic is it so Win, how is that the hello? I haven't seen any. It's Hong Fan Wongpa-chan's login or login as another presenter?
I don't think he's in yet. Maybe we should take a break for 5 minutes.
Hydropower dam development in Laos and its effects.
Yes. I don't think he's in yet.
If it's not, then we probably have an early sessions of today.
Yes.
Let's give another couple of minutes. If it's not, then we will end the session.
His session is supposed to be on 12:30. Yes.
So
maybe we should
50 minutes. So it's supposed to log in. So can we give the host would like to perhaps some interesting thing to inform us for tomorrow's sessions. We'll continue the similar session tomorrow. So for those who would like to join us, we will continue our tomorrow session also starting at 9 o'clock. But the login page is slightly different. You refer to the brochure to look at the login page and the Zoom conference. Will be another exciting session for tomorrow, the whole morning. And meanwhile, just waiting for our friend to come in. If Hong Fan Wongpa-chan has logged in.
I can see that Miss Vaishali has raised her hand.
Who? Oh,
Miss Vaishali Mishra.
Oh, Vaishali? Anything you like to share with us? Vaishali Mishra?
Oh.
I can't see any. Can't hear her. Anything particular? Just
Miss Vaishali, you're on mute if you are trying to talk.
We're doing too fast without time now. Perhaps in the meantime, speakers in the previous sessions we can continue to share our discussion or our debate, so on, our views and thoughts, particularly open up to Dr. Saranjit Singh Nick Wadi, Vaishali, Indrani Ghosh, you are free. You're welcome to make some further remarks. Yeah. Otherwise, I think we are in a very interesting time to waiting for another 10 minutes. So without any other questions from participants, you would like to share with us your comments and your views and thoughts about the CAFEO sessions? You're welcome to also to post your.
Hello, I am Indranil Ghosh. I have finished my session in a hurry because I wanted to keep the time management. If you have anything question, I can ask the participants, if the participants have any question.
Please do that. Yeah. Or you want to add on something more, further remarks?
No, nothing addition. I mean, because I finished it early.
I know, I understand. Yeah, we are all doing too well. Perhaps each of us manage a time less than 10 minutes slots, and for that we move on pretty smoothly. Yeah. And I welcomed and participants who join or just joined to post or raise your remarks or comments at the chat box so that we can share around and get our speakers from our early sessions to make further comments and remarks. Just waiting for switching, and then as we develop.
Okay, sir, if you permit me, I will kind of explain a little bit more about my Venus stability model. Would you permit me?
Please go ahead, Indrani.
See, this sustainability model we have made based on with a lot of audit and assessment. And see, when I was visiting various industry, they said, many of them said that they are not very happy with the ISO standards, ISO 9001, 14001, as well as 45001. They feel that it is only meeting the compliance. What else we should do? So then we started discussing with these industry leaders as well as academicians. Then we found that by clubbing all those acts, rules, regulations, whatever is available in the country, if we can club all of them, and if we make a protocol based on them, based on the and also we can include the best industry practices, then we can make a protocol. So once we make a protocol, and then I thought that when we are making a protocol, let us divide them into 10 different modules, so that everybody may not be interested in all the modules. At least some modules, some industry may be interested. And because of that, we divided the entire model into 10 modules. And when we divided these 10 models into 10 modules, then I found that it is becoming easier, because some industry may be willing to strategize only learning and development part. Say, as for example, an academic institution, they may not be interested in all those things, but they are very, very interested about learning and development part. So they implemented a small part of the model. So that is how the entire model started. And when I found that the success of the model is already there, then I took a copyright. And now it has already a copyright, so I can do these services for all sort of industries all over across the globe.
Any particular major corporations adopted your sustainability business model yet? Any of the
there are some
oil companies, particularly oil companies. Any particular
some Indian oil companies are already there in this, but see, I cannot give the trade names because normally I sign a confidentiality clause with them. So I will not tell them that what models where they have implemented. But if you allow me, I can show you a presentation which talks about the clients what I have now, and maybe it will be helpful to you to understand that what type of clients I am catering. Is it okay? Is it allowed? Is it allowed?
If you
It is not only time, because you have to see the protocol also. It
Okay.
should not be against the norms of your organization, of the association what you have, right? So I will show you about I will show you my company what it is doing, right? So then after that we can just 1 minute. I am opening my presentation. Yes, presentation is open. Will you allow me to share? Can I share, madam?
Yeah. Please, our host.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine.
Okay.
Now I have shared. This is the presentation of my company, and this company's name is Learners and Winners Training and Consultancy Private Limited, and our mission is creating winners. And on with this mission only we are working. We are trying to just 1 minute. What happened? Let me see. Yeah, with this mission we are going ahead. Now you can see we are a very small started a small company a few years back, but we are growing so far. We started as a training company, but now we have gone to this type of sustainability assessment also, and already we have taken this. Now you can see here we have partnered with Society of Power and Energy Professionals. It is a charitable trust in India, and we have partnered with them, and we are going ahead with this sustainability model. So we are in the process of developing the sustainability model strategy, as well as strategizing, as well as assessing these models. So training approach, I will skip because that may not be pertinent.
What we're interested perhaps to understand how far the sustainability business model has gone into the industry, has adopted.
Okay.
I think it's interesting where more and more people or corporations are adopting these new practices.
Okay. See, I will show you that. Basically, we take baby steps. I have already explained in my presentation how you go. That I have explained, so I am not talking about this. Now, as I told you, that is the sustainability model. We have a registration. Now, you wanted which type of client we are catering. You can see a lot of oil companies are there, because you can see Oil and Natural Gas Corporation, Mangalore Refineries, Hindustan Petroleum, Bharat Petroleum, Indian Oil, NRL, Numaligarh Refineries, Bharat Oman Refineries Limited, Crane India Limited. So these are all oil companies, including LNG Petroleum, H Mittal, that is also a Hindustan Mittal. It is also an oil company. So you can see these are the oil companies are my client, which I am catering these services. Right, sir? I think this is the more than this I should not discuss in this open forum.
Thank you.
Right, sir?
Thank you, Johnny.
Right, sir.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Perhaps Dr. Rht Singh would like to show us more, because just now we were a bit rushed with a few of your slides there. Mr. Rht Singh, sir. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Very good morning. I mean, I'll be pretty interested to know a little bit from Mr. Indranil Ghosh, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir, we are faculty here at one of the universities in India.
Yes, sir.
I come from mechanical engineering background, was an HOD also earlier. And this piece of work which I today showed is a part of one of an activity which one of my co-researcher and a senior professor has been carrying.
Right, sir.
But in your slide, you showed that probably you started as a training company, and probably you
Yes,
were
sir.
been actively involved, sir, with certain courses on audit and other things.
Right,
so, can you deliberate a little bit more on academics like us, big universities like I represent KIIT University in Bhubaneswar.
Okay, I know kids. I know kids very well. Many of my relatives' children have passed out from kids, right? So I know kids very well. See, I will tell you that we are now conducting 1-year diploma course in energy engineering, energy conservation, and energy management. Again, it is related to climate change, right? So we are conducting 1-year diploma course, and I hope Madam will share all the email IDs. So if I get your email ID as well as WhatsApp number, definitely I will be able to mail you all the prospectors what I have. Right, sir?
Yeah, that will be great, because
yes, sir.
I mean, one purpose of this forum should be to collaborate and to learn from each other.
Right, sir. I agree with you, sir.
University, as a university, we have been working very closely with Jadavpur University on this front. So
yes.
Jadavpur University has a separate department. And there have been a couple of senior professors who have been at advisory role with us. So we have started 1-year postgraduate diploma program in energy management, and and that is in association with PRDC Bangalore. And probably we will definitely love to listen more from you in that case.
Right, sir. Thank
If
you,
our
sir.
organization
Thank you very much,
shares
sir.
the coordinate with everyone, probably we can reach out to you, sir.
Right, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Let me just check with the host that we got the next presenter joining in yet. Mr. Hong Fan Wompacha. It is any or is.
Good morning, Dr. Yong.
Yes.
Yeah, it's Julian here from Puja. The other speaker is actually coming in. He has a difficulty logging in. So we're trying our best to get him in. So if the participants don't mind, because the speaker is very keen to present to CAFEO meeting, he is the only speaker from Laos. He's the only speaker from Laos.
Good,
we've been trying very hard to get a speaker from Laos.
Thank
you kindly wait with us, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
I think we are excited to welcome him here, and I hope he can log in successfully. And
Doctor and Mr. Indrani can further debate discuss their papers.
We are utilizing this extra time for this purpose. Otherwise, our presentation is over.
Yeah.
Our
and we also welcome Naik Wadi to back. Naik Wadi, you would like to add on a bit more on your environmental laws and the effectiveness.
I think Naik Wadi, you can tell about these environmental laws, Energy Conservation Act. I can talk about about the Energy Conservation Act as well as Indian Electricity Act, whereas you will be the right person about the Forest Act and maybe other related acts.
Naik Wadi, your mic.
Naik Wadi, Nakawari nahi, unka naam hai Naik Wadi.
See, whatever we are talking, whatever we are doing, finally we want to achieve the greenhouse gases are reduced.
Right. Sir.
Global temperature does not increase. You tell about sustainability, you tell about efficiency. What is the end result? End result, when you can quantify and say, by my efforts, the global temperature, which was to rise by 1.5, has not risen. This is my success.
Right.
And greenhouse gases, so much percentage has come down. All our thrust and concentration should be towards achieving that. You are doing a small industry and you are having a training school. You are training people, but how do you use the trained people in reducing this? I will take the example of India. In India, total installed capacity of megawatts is 5 lakh megawatts. Out of that, today, Delhi is the capital of India, and all the schools are shut down in Delhi for a week. Why? All the schools in Bangalore are running all the 24 hours back. In Bangalore, air quality index is 75, which is less than 100, which is the normal. But in Delhi, the air quality index is 450. Why that air quality index in capital city of India is so bad? People are running away from Delhi. Simple reason. Entire generation of electricity for Delhi is coming from coal-fired thermal stations. We did not anticipate. We did not work out to bring either nuclear power, hydropower from the nearby states, or solar or wind. We have not done. We are only business people. We are only politically oriented. You want electricity, you are just increasing. Today, Delhi is shut down. What the global all embassies, they are in Delhi, feel about Delhi? It is a black spot on our entire technology. Now we are thinking, you shut down the thermal power station. Fine. For 1 week, no classes, no offices, no transport, no buses. What is the sort of, projections what we are doing, what efforts we are doing? My thrust is this: when you want to See, 55% of energy generated in India is coal-based thermal power plant. Because coal is abundantly available. We are not exploited the wind power, solar power, nuclear power as an alternative. जब तक चलता है चलने जाओ. So this is the policy of the government. Unless the experts head the organizations, they think all our politicians are mere politicians. They are not statesmen. They only look at 3 years, 5 years goal. Nobody thought of 25 years generation capacity. Now we are searching what is to be done. Thermally
Right,
shut down in Delhi.
Sir, I am sorry because I am because otherwise I will forget because you have spoken many things. Let me tell you one by one. First of all, sir, I will tell you two things. One, you are fortunate that you are living in a garden city. And I am also fortunate because I am living in a coastal city. I am from Mumbai. Okay. Now that is the first part. Second part, we are in an internet. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You raised your finger.
I'm happy to say that I think Hong Fan have joined in successfully.
Okay.
So
Fine, sir. Fine, sir. One last point. Can I?
Yes,
share,
please do that. Okay, please do that. Yes, please do that.
One, we have to understand that we are talking about greenhouse gases.
Yeah.
We are not talking about smoke. We are not talking about fog and smoke together, right? Now, greenhouse emission you will get from another gas which is called SF6.
Okay.
Sulfur hexafluoride. And sucked up sulfur hexafluoride comes from electrical industry, not from coal-based thermal power plant. So, so what we have done for SF6 gas limitation is we have innovated, and also we have made some instruments which can absorb SF6 gas and which can be transported safely to the factories where they can be processed. Thank you, sir. Bye.
Thank you for a very interesting discussion among ourselves while waiting for Hong Fan Wupacha. Now, I will like to welcome Hong Fan Wapachan from Laos to give us a presentation on hydropower dam development in Laos. Now, without further ado, I invite Hong Fan. Your unmute. Yes, please. The floor is yours.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Good. We can do. We do.
Yes, very good. And thank you very much for inviting me to join this meeting. And today I'm going to present about overview for hydropower project development in Laos. Maybe is not more concern for that meeting. So I try to explain and try to sharing the information from you. And could you open my presentation? Can you hear me?
Yes, we do. Continue.
Yes,
your presentation is.
Yes. Can you open my presentation?
Yes, we are trying to open your presentation.
Yes.
Give us a minute. Thank you. Welcome to CAFEO39. It's good to see you.
Are you okay with it?
Hang on. Wait a minute. We're trying to locate your paper.
Maybe there is the technical problem, huh?
It's
Okay,
okay.
sir, sharing now. Yeah.
Try.
Okay.
Okay, can I start right now?
Please do that. Please. Yes.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. Dear guests and ladies and gentlemen. Today I'm very proud to have presentation about the overview for hydropower project development in Lao PDR. So, okay, the next slide. And my name is Humpan Wongpachan. I'm working for the Ministry of Energy and Mine in charge of the Department of Energy Management. So today I'm going to talk about the three topics. The one topic is fundamental policy and legal related for management of the hydropower project. And the secondly, I'm going to brief about the nationwide emergency dam safety inspection that we have conducted in the year 2018 to 2019 for whole the country. And the third one is challenges for hydropower development in Laos. Okay, so the next slide. And according to the high potential of our country, okay, the government is take the high priority for hydropower development. So we are developed very quickly for the hydropower development. So that's why so right now we have fundamental policy and legal related for the hydropower management. And that fundamental, there are many documents that the government is promulgated and using for the hydropower development management. The firstly is the policy on the sustainable hydropower development, and the secondly is the policy guideline for the implementation of the sustainable hydropower development, and the third very important document is the law on electricity. That law we have amended the 4 times. And the last one, we have amended the year 2017. That is the main document. And the secondly, that related to our technical matter, we already have the Lao electric power technical standard, and we have the Lao technical standards in the year 2004. And also the year 2018, we amended the Lao technical standard. And also apart from that document, we also have the guideline on operating and managing Lao electric power technical standard and safety. And that document we already amended in the year 2018. And apart from that, we also have the safety rule for operation and maintenance for hydropower project, and also the maintenance for the electrical facility. And that document we amended in the year 2018. And apart from that, we also have the guideline for technical inspection and examination of the electricity energy development. That guideline including the hydropower inspection, examination, and including for the electrical facility for inspection and examination. And also apart from that, we also have the very important document that we have drafted in the year 2018, and right now the government already promulgated and enforced of that document is the dam safety guideline. And dam safety guideline is composed of the 8 version. The one is for the dam safety guideline for training, and secondly is the dam safety guideline for the instrumentation, and the third one is the dam safety guideline for the surveillance, and the fourth one is the dam safety guideline for the impounding. And apart from that, we also have the dam safety guideline for the EAP. It means that the emergency action plan for the hydropower project. And also apart from that, we also have the term of reference for the feasibility study for hydropower project. And secondly, and we also have the term of reference for the basic design for the hydropower project. And the last one, we already developed the Lao grid code, and right now we are under improving, and that activity that we got the technical assistance from the Japanese government to improve the Lao grid code. And that activity, it will be completed in the 3 years ahead. So this is the main document that very important document to reference for the development, for the management, for the inspection, for examination, for the electrical facility, and also the hydropower project development in Laos. Okay, going on. Next slide. And according to the Lao government policy, even though we developed the hydropower project so much and rapidly right now, so the government we are emphasize for the 4 things. The one thing is the project must be technically feasible, and secondly, the project that we need to develop must be financially feasible, and the third one is the project must be socially feasible and also the environmentally feasible. That is the main target and the main policy of the government, that we need to develop the hydropower project and also the electrical facility in Lao PDR. So next slide. And this is the overview for the hydropower development in Lao PDR. In the year 2010, there are around 8 large dams in the operation in Lao PDR. But okay, going on. And that dam is many types of dam, for the concrete dam, for earth dam, for rock fill dam, hydropower and mining dam, and also the thermal plant, many types of dam. But in the year 2020, there are around 50 dams is under operation and construction. So as you can see that the development for hydropower project is very rapidly development in Lao PDR. So that is the challenge for the development, for the management, for the inspection in terms of the government aspect. So going on. And this is a flow chart for the inspection and examination for the hydropower project and also the electrical facility. according to the electricity law, we are divided the two category. The one category is the big project, and medium project is belong to the responsibility for inspection and examination and management by the government, by the central government. But a small project, I mean that the capacity for the hydropower project less than 15 megawatt is belong to the local authority, that they have the obligation for approving, for inspection, examination regarding to the technical matter and legal aspect. This is showing you the briefly, you know, we have the clear procedure how to manage and how to approve the document, approve the project document. For example, feasibility study, it must be to approval from the government. If the if a small project is approval by the local authority, and secondly, the approval for the basic design of the project, and also the inspection and examination of the project. This is the process that describe the demarcation between the government, the central government, and the local government. Okay, next
Mr.
point.
Hong Pan, if we can wrap it up in a minute time, then we can have more questions later on.
Yes,
Q&A.
yes,
Yeah. Thank you.
And this is the process that we describe about project inspection and examination for the large project that I mentioned. This is the obligation for the central government. Yeah. Okay, going on. And okay, the second topic, I'm going to brief about the nationwide emergency dam safety inspection that conducted by the International Advisor Team from the year 2019 to the year 2020. As you are aware that after we have the incident of Sapien Senamnoy break in the year 2018, so the government had been instructed to the Ministry of Energy and Mine to review and to inspect whole the country of the hydropower dam. So that's why we have received the technical assistance from the development partner, for example, from World Bank, from Australia, from China, from Japan, from Canada, from the United States, many countries that we have assistance from the international advisor to conduct the examination and inspection. And we have conducted the examination and inspection around 54 hydropower projects. This is the we have conducted over 1 year, and right now we can summarize the results of the emergency dam safety inspection. Okay, going on. And after we conducted the nationwide emergency dam safety inspection, and we conclude that according to the IA, international advisor reviews of the for the inspection report of the various dams, we found that did not prevent the critical safety problem which would require immediate emergency action, such as a partial or complete shutdown of the hydropower dam. That is the no critical issue. And secondly, even though we don't have any critical issue, but but we can concentrate about the dam safety have been neglected and should be improved for achieve the significant upgrades in the dam safety management of the large hydropower project dam in Laos, and through the dialogue with the dam owner, and they should understand that the dam safety is more important and beneficially for the for there. And the next one, we need to create necessary improve for the organization, that is the and also the framework, legal framework, it must be to improve. Okay, next one. And this is more emphasized would be should be made for the result for the examination and inspection. The one is the validation process of hydrology study, geology study, and the dam safety matter. It should be concentrate and should lead to better safety of the future project. And the secondly, we need to emphasize for the surveillance for the hydropower project development. And the third one, we need to concentrate for the emergency preparedness for every project. And the third one, that is very important, that we are underdoing right now. We try to establish of the law on the dam safety. This is under process. And also we need to establish of the technical advisor panel. This is the quite important. So okay, next slide. Okay, the third one, I'm briefly about the challenges for hydropower project development. The one is capability of the management is limited, both of the number and qualification, central and local government itself. And the secondly, some existing legal framework need to be improved and new establishment. And the thirdly is we need to arrangement for the organization must be clear picture, okay, from the central and to the local authority. And the fourth one, we need to improve for the coordination system for all levels and sector and etc. This is challenges that we are facing right now. And thank you very much for your attention. If you have any question or any clarification, please feel free to asking me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Hong Fan, for your very interesting presentations on the hydropower. Then, in the chat box for participants who would like to post your questions, so we have limited time, but we still can answer a couple of questions from the chat box if you have any, or would like to raise your hand, anything on your...
Mr. Kisinekwadi?
Yeah, please do.
Yeah.
You raise your hand.
Yeah. Mr. Hamfan, what is the total installed capacity of your nation in megawatts?
Sorry, I cannot to catch up your point.
What is the installed capacity in Laos in megawatts?
Okay, you mean that the
how much electricity has been generated from the hydropower?
Electricity generation in Laos, what is the total megawatts?
Total megawatt. According to the initial feasibility study, whole the country is around over 30,000 megawatt on the country.
Okay. Out of 30,000, how much is hydro?
Oh, okay. The hydropower is around 85% from hydro.
85%. Remaining is coal-based thermal.
Yes, we have some thermal, and also the according to the Lao government policy right now, we are concentrated about the the solar power, wind power, and also the thermal power, something like that.
Because now we want to reduce greenhouse gases.
Yes.
So that global temperature comes down.
Yeah.
In this regard, what Lao is doing to reduce the greenhouse gases?
Yeah. But the thermal power is very, very small, just only the few project. But the solar power and the wind power, many project is under feasibility study.
Because our whole thrust is to reduce greenhouse gases and temperature. When you are putting more and more hydropower, you are destroying forests, you are destroying vegetation, you are only increasing your generation, but you are damaging ecology and environment.
Well,
yes,
you have to balance it nicely. It's a very delicate
you have
balance.
to see the problem with the government. You have to balance. You're only looking to your progress, industry, the hydro. But what about ecology, environment? We wanted to listen from you what you are doing regarding reducing greenhouse gases, reducing temperature. How do you protect ecology? Do you have environmental laws in your nation?
Oh, yes, absolutely. We have the environmental assessment law, and we have the decree for
environmental laws, putting punishment, etc., penal order. Do you have environmental laws?
Yeah, we have the environmental law, and we have the process how to assessment for the environmental impact assessment for hydropower project.
Sir, dear moderator, I have been listening to all this. Each is having its narrow sphere of activities. Broadly, they are not telling about reducing greenhouse gases, reducing temperature. Now, I finally want to make one suggestion. Under Asian Federation of Engineers, please create one climate change group separately and take their periodical meetings, and we have to monitor greenhouse gases and temperature rise, at least in the Asian nations. This is my suggestion.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for your good suggestion. And
yes,
thank you.
Yes,
thank you very much,
yes.
Hong Pao, for your interesting paper presentation. In fact, I'd like to pass it back to the host to show our appreciation.
Thank you, Doctor. Now we would like to do a certificate presentation to our presenter, Mr. Hung Fang Vong Fa Chang, on his presentation, Hydropower Dam Development in Laos and its Effects.
Okay, you mean that the impact from hydropower project?
Sorry?
It's a letter of certificate of appreciations to your presentation. So from the organizing committee, from the CAFEO host.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And this is a digital copy, but it will be sent to you soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Right.
Now it's coming to the end of the sessions today. Now I'd like to thank all the speakers who have kindly and warmly presenting their thoughts and their views and on the paper, and also to all the participants for listening and sharing and joining us this morning. So without further ado, I also like to close the sessions and to mark a note of success and thanks to the organizing committee, to CAFEO, and to the host for running the program. Thank you very much. Perhaps, I'm not sure there's a photo sessions to all the speakers also. Is that possible?
Yes, we may take a group photo. Please, all participants, please switch on your camera.
Yeah. Can we kindly ask all the participants to switch on your camera or your video thing, so that we get a group photos.
Okay, everybody ready? Okay, on the count of 1, 2, 3. Okay, another one. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you so much, everybody. With that, we close and end the session for today. Kindly turn in for tomorrow's session using the same login detail and at the same time. On behalf of the organizing committee, we would like to thank everybody and the moderators for participating in this event. We apologize for any shortcomings in today's session, and I wish you all a pleasant day and stay safe. Thank you.
Well done. Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Session is closed. तो ये बोलो लैपटॉप ले लो नहीं उसका मोबाइल कहाँ है कहाँ से Thank you.